I'll send you secret.
Oh, what the fuck? Did you see? Oh my god, oh, she's leaving me, I think? Nope, she's not. I can't believe she let that happen.
Okay.
It's too late.
Be free!
Alright, just... Just OP. I mean, maybe it's your feet. That was
Okay, so I was in.
Dude, okay. I'm goated. I can't believe that worked. Oh, I thought he... I'm gonna tickle them.
Alright, help.
He goes, is that Thanos?
Dude, that's... It really is.
I screwed up so hard.
Hey, Alto.
I screwed up so hard. I should have
Mom.
left.
Mommy Hunter? Mommy? Sorry. Mommy?
Ren, we all know there's... we all know there's only one mommy. And Dead by...
Great, buddy. I have my ult. Oh, I am. Say shit over. He said- That's how he says it in American.
Nope, please, I just got 2 kills.
So bad.
Oh, Jesus. I got a kill?
Oh, I'm trying.
I'm a sleeper agent.
Did you say step in the jump rat trap?
Don't step in the trap.
Oh my god, Mercy was so
Going in, boys.
Oh, Mercy above.
close. Do the composite.
Oh my god!
Sugar, please, come on.
Oh my god, get the Reaper behind, please. Turn around, please. Wait. 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 There we go.
No? He stood up.
This was almost. Crap.
Yeah, I'd appreciate some comms.
Sabotage
Shut up.
Why would I play Slide?
Oh, fuck, shit, fuck. I might go down here. Just kidding, I'm goated.
Okay, so he can flash his flashlight at me.
Hey, howdy, hey. I should automate it so when that counter goes to 0, it just like changes scenes, and that way I won't be ready. And I think that would be hilarious. But hey guys, hope everyone's having a nice night. I had a crazy last 3 days at work. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to talk about it. Just gonna vibe and play some Siege. But thank you for being here. I gotta get the game launched. I had so many tabs open. But yeah. Hi. Hello. Mary, I have played Overwatch. Not a ton. I'm definitely a steaming pile of garbage. Oh my god, guys, there's a celeb in my chat. The 9 Tarasu. Also, hey Boiler. I don't know if I said hi to you specifically. But yeah, Mary, if you ever want to play Overwatch, hit me up. 9, your power's out. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, 9 was supposed to join. Well, I mean, if the power comes back on, feel free to hop on, dude. I'm sorry. You should just take your PC to someone else's house. You got any internet cafes nearby? I'm sure this isn't the only video, but I saw a hilarious video of somebody like bringing a desktop and a monitor, a keyboard and mouse into like a Starbucks and just setting it up and playing like some competitive game in the middle of the Starbucks. Bro, just get electricity through it. Yeah. Racky, right. Big storm. Yeah, it's been similar around here. Bonk. Hey Kells, are you here or Kami? Let me know if you want me to pull you in the VC, but otherwise I'm gonna assume not. So we should theoretically have Kai, Kells, Rack, and 9 if his power comes back on. So it should be a full squad of 5. But man, I had quite... Oh my god, Miss Goo. There's another celeb in the chat. So many Twitch celebs. Famous streamers. Got The Mary Hatter, 9 Tarasu, It Pongu, Rack from Valhalla. Boiler's also MVP. Absolute goated mod. I panic every time R6 updates because it's further and further behind the meta. Yeah, man, me too. Just launch it up and be like, wait, who's this? And then you look and you're like, wait, who are all of these people? Yeah, the good thing though is like, I don't know, the old characters they don't change too much. So okay. Is anyone are anyone of the 4 people I'm waiting on ready? 9 doesn't have power. Yeah, the bitrate really is still all over the place. Yeah, so the mistake I made, for anyone who didn't notice, I actually, instead of 3,500 kilobit per second, I put 35,000 kilobit per second, which is way over the limit for Twitch. Twitch is like 8,000. Is the hard limit. 6,000 is like the paper recommended limit. YouTube, you can go up to like 50, but YouTube, you can also do like 4K 60. You know, something for 9. Yeah, Boiler. If you want to play, you can absolutely join. And then if 9 gets his power back, you know, you can tap out since I told 9 first he could play. But that'd be dope. It's updating. Smoke a Mary Jane. You'll be on. Okay, Rec. So I'll let you know. I might just play some bots right now. Because I don't know where any of my friends are. Oh no, I do not want quick match. I could do ranked placements. No, we'll just do some bots for now. But man, yeah. Crazy last 3 days at my security job. Had Saturday, some guy was gonna fight my coworker over a parking spot. So that was cool. And then yesterday, there was a guy who like walked into a moving car and like was claiming he was injured, but I don't know about that. And then today, oh, now Kami launches the game. Now he launches the game. You guys can't see what I see, but and then today, yeah, it seemed like there was somebody trying to steal a hat of all things. But yeah, we'll just play this one bot round. Yeah, 9 gets priority. Homework tonight. Can't stay for so long. Yeah, no, that's perfect, Boiler. You know I'd always love to have you. Oh yeah, this is a weird little tower. Got some... I'm getting decent frames. Yeah, so I made the mistake of... I always do this. I updated OBS Studio without checking to see if all my plugins were compatible. Oh, man. And, yeah, so I had to fix a bunch of plugins. Anyone else in here? No. I think this goes to the outside. Oh, no, not actually. So yeah, so most of my plugins are good, but one of the really important ones, Stream Effects, I'm using like an alpha version. And so, I don't know, it like reset my stream output settings, which is why I accidentally put 35,000. But yeah, I don't know how the captions are working, but now there's like a native caption generator built into OBS, although it's experimental. Because I've been using a plugin. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, do I got my peepos up? Yeah, the Toby Ghost should be working. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check after these bots. Oh, he says as he almost dies to one. Off as in not, yeah. Not like the timing is off, but like the words are off. Yeah, I imagine they're probably about as good as what I had, the plugin I had been using, which I now need to uninstall that plugin. Oh, that was stupid of me. Wait, let me check this out. Bonk. I had to go to my own Twitch channel. And I gotta quickly mute it. Okay, it's already muted. Bet. I don't know if the captions are working. I'm not heartbroken about it. I would like to have caption. Oh, okay, no, they're here. Caption options. Text, yada yada yada. Text, effects. Background window. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I'm not... It's probably like... This might work now. Let's see. I give the captions some volume. Because the plugin I used, you didn't actually have to have caption volume. Are they on? Oh. Okay, wait. Sorry, guys. I'm like... Okay, I'm going to turn the volume completely off. Oh, let me... Ooh. We're doing it live. Ooh. Booga booga. Captions? I need to say something unique that we all know if the captions are working. Like pineapple. Pineapple. Oh, yeah, that's totally working. Bet. Perfect. You love to see it. Okay. Okay. Alright, so it looks like... Kami is on. Kami, do you want to be in the VC? I don't want to just yoink him away from his beautiful wife. Sorry, PC issues. Mars plugged into motherboard. God. Oh, Miss Goo's reinstalling. Oh, man. Hey, look, in all fairness, the motherboard has display outputs, and they do in fact work. Almost took the PC away. You lost your... If there's one thing in this house, you should know it's how to plug in the monitor into the graphics card. Wait, what kind of fruit is that? Wait. Is that a durian? I think this is a durian. Which anyone who doesn't know, durians smell like rotting corpses, like unironically. But they're very sweet. Also, wait. Oh, this looks sick. Oh, it's for Monty? And it looks like... I mean, I have 38,000. And I do play Monty. The Yakuza Elite skin. Oh my... I need it. I need it. I need it. Oh... A chevalier. That means horseman in French, for anyone wondering. Or knight. I mean I gotta get the Lord Tachonk. Oh my god, I need them. I need them all. I don't know what the Yakuza... This is wild. Holy shit. These are all crazy skins. I'm loving all of these. Oh. I love it so much. I love all of these. Uniforms, elite, and then echo. And you said it was... I feel like I'm gonna miss it. What am I looking for? Does it actually say Yakuza? I'm definitely gonna miss it. I already missed it. Oh, it's called Mad Dog. Okay. No, I got it. I got it now. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Oh, I dig it. I think the tattoos are a nice touch, the chest tattoos. So he's probably tatted all down his arms, but you can't see with the jacket. I love how you said up when I went all the way to the bottom. Okay. He's got a real crazy eye in that. I don't know about him getting hit in the head with a baseball, but I like the swinging and everything. Oi, are you gonna squad up with me, or are you just gonna tell me how to look at skins? Also, am I pulling you two in the VC, or no? Dude, I invited you multiple times at this point. I have been invited. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're lucky there's not VC in this lobby. Hi, Kels. Am I or am I not pulling you two into this voice chat? Do you consent? Does the lovely couple consent to speaking with Bosif? Invited her. Oh, what is this? What is this profile picture, Kels? Yes, chat, please. Okay, I'm pulling Kels first. Oh god, I'm struggling. Hold on. Bonk.
Hey.
Bonk. Kami, you don't care if I dox. Yeah, I feel like you've said before you're like, bro, just call him. Okay, cool. Because I mean, Kels is just Kels, so it's kind of...
Kels is... Yeah, no.
Ah, man. This is a good start. Good start.
Very wonderful lady.
Hey, I just made you a nice dinner. It took all day.
As you should.
Okay, so stream, yeah, baby. Pongu said she was updating. I think Boiler wanted to pop on. Nine's power is out.
Nine's
And
power is out.
yeah, so Rack is smoking while his game is updating, and then Nine's power is out. So
Tall spoon.
oh god. So Boiler was gonna play in place of 9, and then if 9 got power back, he didn't mind tapping out. And then if we have a spot, we'll slide Goo in.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how long Rack's gonna be, so if
Q1.
if Pongu's game updates first, she can. I say she can pop on, but Rack
Is-
has priority. So would you like to say
Nine's
something?
fucking. Nope. Not Dox's phone number.
I was gonna say, is he gonna say his phone number, or is it gonna be him saying his government name? Because neither is good. Also, Buttspot was so fucking delayed. Whoa.
Hey, how's it feel to be in like the 1930s? I just put the phone down.
He, yeah, I guess he doesn't have power, so he's just walking around with candles during a storm.
Eating shit down the stairs. Right, I forgot.
Uh huh. Was there more to this
How
sentence?
do you turn off the fucking NVIDIA experience layout thing?
Oh, overlay.
Yeah.
I don't even have GeForce Experience installed, but I think you have to open it up, and then in the settings,
Oh, there you go. Turn off overlay.
there you go. Yeah, Buttspot was so fucking late. Alt R. I'm just queuing us for a quick match, by the way.
I think someone wants to make it a.
Who wants to make it a what? What's going on?
Oh, don't worry about it.
You're concerning me?
I'm not gonna say that.
You're doing me a concern. Is this gonna be another one of your cultural differences?
Yo, Johnny Sins is on the other team. Shout out.
That's Mr. Johnny Sins to you.
Great actor.
Dude, one of the best.
Yeah, he's,
Someone call him the GOAT.
Don't remember how to play.
Don't worry, I've never known. I've literally... I don't know if... I think, Kai, you were watching the other night maybe a little bit. Or I don't know, maybe both you guys. But, wow, Shirtless Thanos has already sent me a friend request. Who is that? Who the fuck is that? They're not even in this lobby.
I guess that Speedy.
Oh my god. You're so right. That's totally... But the other night, I was literally just playing Frost and Monty.
Secure the area. The bomb's protected.
That way if I...
I saw you were playing a lot of Frost.
Yeah, because that way I can just place the mats, and if I die, you know, I die.
How do you like now that she can have an angled grip on her gun? I don't know if that means anything to you.
No, I never played her before that, but I do run the angle grip.
Yeah, I think she's definitely a lot better now.
I feel like I'm fucking zooming around right now. Oh, we're good now. That was so weird. Of course, we're at a site with no windows.
10 seconds left.
Why wouldn't it be?
Please, why am I the only one on the team putting up fucking barricades?
Because I'm deploying things.
Yeah, I'm placing mats. Welcome mats. Boy, they're bug me to friend you after this, and we'll get you in. And Miss Goo, we can get you in, but Rack will take your spot when he's ready. Just because I already told him he could play. Are there any more vents? Oh, this one. Okay, perfect. 5v5.
Fucking speaker.
What?
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Hi, Kels.
Hi.
You're a large Serbian man, I see.
I got one.
See.
Back stairwell.
Damn.
Ah. I guessed wrong.
located a bomb. Protect it.
I'm focusing.
One definitely dropped down that hole.
Oh, please don't make it just me. Kels.
It's me too.
I know. That's why I'm saying, Kels, don't leave me.
I'm so scared.
Almost behind you, Bo.
I
Behind you
think.
again.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Oh, you're fucking kidding me.
Oh no.
I feel like such a fool. Dude, look how long he took to... No.
Oh, I hear you.
Let's go. She still got it.
Where did you get that other headshot? You shot him through the wall! I realize this elo is going to be so fucking low. Because Kyle hasn't played in like 6 seasons that we're playing against people with 4 arms.
hey, I'm still winning.
Not denying that. I'm just saying we're playing against people
Hey.
with...
Hey, Kai. Talk to her when you're top of the leaderboard.
Bo, you don't want me to say what I'm about to say.
I don't. You're right. Please.
I will make you poison next time and not a sauce from scratch.
Stop. It's funny because I was going to make some sort of wage gap joke. When you said you shot like the through the wall thing, I was going to somehow equate that like, oh, it's I don't know.
Yeah,
So same wavelength.
Yep, I got you.
I get to eat cake all day, so my job's better.
Yeah, but I get to tell Apple customers to eat shit.
I sell drugs.
Bo wins.
Can you talk about that on Twitch? Oh, you're in a legal state, of course you can.
I'm in a...
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know if the rules were
Yeah.
iffy.
No, I did. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, technically federally illegal, but
No.
yes. Kels, please! I got it.
Really care about that.
So Twitch is like cool with cannabis as long as it's legal where you're doing it.
Okay.
Like you can, it's just like you can drink on stream. You just can't like drink to endanger yourself or something like that. And
Yeah,
obviously you have
can't
to be
do-
legal age and everything.
You can't do like, oh, $10 for a shot, right?
I believe that's correct. Like drinking games are a weird line, but I'd have to double check the verbiage. You definitely can't do goals. Like you can't have people. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just realized what you were saying. You definitely can't have like donos make you drink. Front door. Yeah. They just threw a flash right here.
Oh,
Where?
in that room across my body.
They're flashing again. Are you
Where's
still-
all this going on? Downstairs?
Oh, come!
Yeah.
Where?
Please, no one clip me just saying "come." I'm saying it right now. Do not. Oh my god, Gabe on. You thought I'd get turned. Hey man, I'm not last on the leaderboard.
Nice.
Friendly's victorious. Hostiles
But hello, Rollin. Mr. Gabon. I forgot that, like, I said that custom name for you, and so no one's gonna know. Come on, man! Why are you always shooting bodies?
Get good? I don't know.
Tell me not to buy the Transformer Monty skin.
They're like $15 one.
Yeah.
Nah, buy it. Like you're asking the wrong person to stop you from buying something.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Arbor always gives me shit for buying elite skins.
I was like, I bought this big stupid mouse pad today. I'm like, I bought a pastry brush.
I'll admit it's added a lot of weight to my mouse, but I kind of like it
How's it added weight? 'Cause it's
because you had to add the charging wireless bit in the bottom. Oh, I fixed my stuttering issue finally.
What was stuttering?
So
Is that not just like being British?
because it's true.
no, my
Oh,
PC
boy.
would go from like 300 FPS
Yep.
to 10.
Oh, weird. So what fixed it?
My chipset.
Found a bomb.
Reinstalled chipset drivers and it fixed it.
5 seconds before insertion.
I just pinged 3 of them. There's a
You found a bomb.
where I'm pinging at 3 is a proximity sensor.
I have a hammer.
Hammer time.
Okay, ready.
9 said Kai's using a brick as a mouse. Let me in. Let me in.
Hey, how's it going, 9?
I guess I'll just go this way.
I have a hammer. I can help.
Do we have a hard breach? Did they come from the ceiling? I'm so confused what just happened.
That was me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so can you shoot that?
Hammer it?
No, just shoot it. Just shoot the... No, my... Kels, please.
What?
Okay, anyway, I got it. Is it possible to hammer this? I think we need a hard breach. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I didn't think that would work. Oh, there's a frost mat right here. Can you shoot it?
Oh, nope.
There's also a bandit. Sorry, I meant to say that. Okay, I'm in.
It's gone.
I'm in. I'm blocking. Oh, there's somebody else behind me. Oh, to my right. I'm backing up. I'm backing up. I'm blind.
Oh god, can't see.
Yeah, back up, back up. Back up. Okay.
Op 4 last operator standing.
Oh, there's only one? Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, Kai, come on. What are you...
Hey,
We got the 3 of us, and then you just come in to mow them all. Dude.
communicating, talking through it, and Kai's just like, murder.
Murder. Yeah, Mary, call me in the lobby with me is
Piece of German ass right there.
from Manchester.
Good haircut.
She does.
Oof, get canceled. Why would I get canceled? What did I do? I'm quickly leaving. Quickly leaving before you say anything in the chat. Okay, I need a friend boiler.
Oh, you're asking about my icon. That was an old drawing I had done.
Wow,
of
you
me a
have
while ago.
Brits in the chat, you know, SMH. You made fun of British people. It's alright, they're just sad that they had an orange guy as a president for a while.
I'm holding back.
Do it. What are you gonna say?
I don't know,
How's
something
Operation
yada yada the queen. I don't even know.
Hey, it's her funeral today. Be nice.
Oh, I'm gonna put my background on.
Stop.
Bro, did you see my wallpaper?
No, not yet. Hey, I got the cancer helmet for thermite. It's like pink camo.
You got
That
Kind of.
sounds much worse than you.
It's like the breast cancer. No. It's not.
Bro, do me a favor, check stream, but without it being on your stream.
Oh yeah. I can do that. Uh oh. Oh no. And dude, in the what's it called? The audio thing, the visualizer. It
Yeah.
just, it really, and the monster cat.
Yeah. It's
Golden.
if only she wasn't.
Huh?
If only she wasn't.
If only I could show that on stream.
I mean, you could. It's pretty known fact that she was.
We're done with this. I'm queuing us up again. Boiler, if
Okay.
you... Oh, wait, Miss Goo. Wait, are you ready? Do you want to in fight? Did I... Oh, you're in here. We need Boiler. Need Boiler. That's who we're missing.
I haven't played this game in so long.
It's okay. We're all on the same page, except Kai, evidently.
Joe Ibo.
What?
Do you know why I'm good at this game?
I'm afraid.
They've got small hands. You
I don't-
worry
You
about
know what they
it.
say about small hands?
Exactly. Really small gloves. Spoiler.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Boiler, please. God. Boiler, should we wait for you or nah?
Are you using Bosa? Not Bosa, fucking Nines in there. I'm not getting the invite.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't. I don't know what's up because I definitely added him back,
Are you actually inviting him?
but it says he's offline, so I can't.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got 2 packs.
It's a cool skin.
Oh, thanks for the follow, Nick.
Nice. Ooh.
Welcome in.
I like the other one.
What Bravo packs?
Battle Pass ones.
I was just messaging Rack so he doesn't get. I feel like he's gonna go smoke, come back, see the lobby's full, and be like, "Damn, that's crazy."
Well, time to do another one.
Does anyone else have Boiler?
No.
Okay, it seems like it's not just me. It seems like it's a
1 minute. Oh, what's his name?
shirtless Thanos.
Dyslexic. How to spell?
Shirt less Thanos.
Hey, that doesn't help.
SHIRTLESS.
I got it.
Okay, and it's a picture of Thanos, but he has a shirt on.
As a
Oh,
wife beater.
let's go. Yeah, I mean, you're more correct, but that wasn't the point. Was that it's false advertising?
What the fuck is that?
Are you allowed to call them wife beaters?
I don't like to, but I don't think it's technically a problem.
So, give me the quick lowdown on how to play this game.
Yeah. So yeah. Just wait. What?
Beamer can shoot beer, drink gun.
So who should I play?
It depends if we're attacking or defending.
Who do you have on defense?
We're defending.
You should play Rook, and you should give us t-shirts.
Yeah, that's all you need to do is put down t-shirts and run in circles.
Yeah, and then if you die, we still get t-shirts.
I got, all right, let's see. I got Valkyrie, Caveira, Echo, Vigil, Ella.
Do you have Rook?
Take Rook.
Green Recruit?
Rook, top right corner.
Looks like body armor. Looks like
You don't have a lot of time, Pongu.
I don't have.
A1.
You're out of time.
Fine, pick anyone.
A1.
Okay.
That was fine.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was totally random. I just clicked.
All right. Well,
what's Ella's
You
catch
have-
again?
These are like sticky mines that stun people when they land.
t-shirt.
Yeah,
T-shirt.
I
Pongu,
normally play Rook.
that's not how you
Grab it.
just use your hands, Pongu. The lid.
Map is
No, the lid.
The lid.
The lid. The lid. Patrick, the
What
lid.
map is this?
This is the newest map. It's a lot.
Yay. Yo, Bo, I threw down electric wire if you want to put a mat on it.
Oh, you right.
Yes.
Perf. Is this gonna?
Here, wait, I want to help.
Oh my god, that door, absolutely goated. If they come in any other way though, we're fucked.
Secure.
Hey, there's a double
Why'd you
base.
shut that door up? Oh, it was an accident.
Oh, there's also a Pano.
Oh, there's a thing. Wait, there's a
Drone.
thing.
Yeah, there's a
Spawn.
drone.
A drone?
Shoot it.
Yeah, please.
It drove away.
Anything that moves
It
is hostile.
droned away.
They're friendly.
I'm gonna go back
Yes, there is.
on YouTube and set the thumbnail as that meme I mentioned the other night. The Tachanka. I don't know who I am or where I am, only that I must kill.
They came out through this door.
Where's he pick?
I'm watching this office.
I'm watching you watching this
Come in
office.
door.
Nice. Nice.
Ping it, please.
Oh, that's a fuse.
How?
Fuse.
Oh,
I don't-
it's not that button.
Yeah, fuse is over here.
I don't know what that button did.
Nice shot.
Oh, he's fusing again. Careful. Fuse on 4. Don't careful peeking. Why are you standing in the doorway?
Bye.
Yes.
Me too.
Is there like an easier? How do I? Oh, you peek like that.
Oh. On my ping on 1.
Oh, there's careful if you peek this door. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was looking at. Oh, I'm just blind.
Nice shot.
Nice.
Sheesh. Still above her on the leaderboard.
Domed.
You know what? Okay, you know what would be really funny though, is if. No, I can make this joke. So Pongu and I both have 1 kill, but I have more points.
Still top of the leaderboard.
Oh, should I play the meatball?
I can't say yes to that because that implies I'm calling her a meatball.
I am the meatball.
I'd like everyone to know this is not. He's not doing a racism. He's British. It's fine.
I am the meatball.
Time to do.
He has a.
What?
What?
Wait, I wasn't paying attention. What?
Biohazard contained.
I am the meatball.
I hurt you.
You can tell how long it's been since I last played this game because of what my username is.
Yeah. Yes. I am the meatball.
I feel like the day I get banned on Twitch, it's gonna be because of Kai. It's not because I'm gonna do something. It's
There's
just.
nothing wrong with me calling Clash the meatball. They called her that in competitive for a while.
But they don't anymore.
A likely story.
Yeah, they don't call her anymore for obvious reasons.
That's what I'm saying.
I am the meatball.
I'm gonna have to mute you.
Found the biohazard
Just let him
container.
know.
They will
It's easier.
attempt to locate it during the assault.
The fuck was that?
I mismounted
How do I
LMG.
use my abilities?
Dude,
Don't know what
this
the
door,
button is.
extra safe.
Is the default button free?
I don't know if it's paid or not. No.
You might want to put your goo mines down page if you know what that button is.
Whoa.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Miss Q, it's time to goo.
Whoa.
My goo mines.
Hey, they don't call it the Gooster for nothing.
Oh,
Uh,
there's a drone. Drone on me.
Oh,
Can't shoot.
I got it. Oh, I got it. I got it.
Thank you. My shield doesn't let me shoot. Oh,
I found the ping button.
Wait, you can't destroy a drone with the
nah.
electricity? I feel like that's stupid.
Ubisoft
Wait,
don't like
I'm sorry. Oh wait, Clash Electricity. I was about to say, like, if we have electric barbed wire, it should.
Oh. Was that
They're
you?
over here. No. They're over here somewhere.
Do you have a Monty?
Okay. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, just. The fuck is that?
Jade
It
to
sends.
Rainbow 60.
They're all back here.
I'm just gonna go around.
Are you setting up a crossfire angle?
Going around.
If I'm moving around.
Ah, it's a Claymore!
Yeah, there's a fuse.
I got 2. I got 3.
Nice. Based? Holy shit.
Oh, okay. There's a Buck is upstairs. Buck is upstairs in the center.
Bastion? Everyone out?
Ron, I hope you're here because that was my hero moment. That's it. Stream's over. Thanks for coming.
Further access to the biohazard container.
Yo, kill Morty.
Take out the hostiles.
Morty.
Op 4 last
Get
op-
Morty's head up.
Morty.
Morty. Hi chat, how's it going?
Ah.
You guys having a nice night?
Alright, I didn't hit him at all.
She.
I mean, he's really just chilling up there. You could just wait out the time at this point.
Oh, wait, emote.
No,
Alt F4 to Fortnite dance?
Yeah, it's B. It's B. You want?
I just
you,
add
you
the guy
have,
on Discord and send him a video of me Fortnite dancing.
Yeah, do you have Orange Justice equipped?
5 seconds.
Oh,
Let's go.
Let's go.
Wait. Wait.
Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, that was Jason
Killing
Bourne.
it. What can I say? This is too good.
John Wick who?
like I said, Bo, this Elo is going to be people with 75 arms and the little brother screaming over.
Wait, why is that a bad thing? What's wrong with more arms?
They're in the way of the mouse.
Oh.
They're like hot swapping arms.
Pull what's called a Quicks and go with Jackal. The only one who gets that joke. But I'm gonna make it anyway.
Damn, it's kind of stormy out.
You need to locate
Dang.
the biohazard container.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how wet would you say the storm is right now?
It's about fish.
Dang.
Oh,
Biohazard container located.
Lamau.
oh, they're playing
XD
Clash as
even.
well.
They... Someone took offense to you playing Clash. They're just like,
Oh, no.
I have to prove something now.
Who's the fifth?
Sorry, pink.
So Rook Castle. We definitely need a hard... Okay, we got Sludge.
Hit me.
Yeah, you can use the Rook to castle.
Pongu, are you sure you want to start somewhere other than... Oh, it's... Well...
We're
There's my...
I desire to break
Wait,
things.
how did you guys get all the way over there?
We that's what I was saying is...
Together.
If you look in the top left, it said where everyone was spawning.
Oh.
And if you hit 7, you can change that. But not any... I mean... Not within like the last few seconds.
I wish I brought Fuse now. Just jumps in.
Oh,
over
dude, you got to do that on the third one every time.
oh.
I
Let's
love
do this
doing
one.
that, but not with Monty because I love walking in just tanked up.
Found her. Help. Help.
What?
Help.
One
Help.
more there,
What?
Kels. Go
Help.
for it.
Out, out, out. Behind.
Oh, Jesus
Behind.
Christ.
Behind. To my right. To my right. I'm in the corner.
They strategically didn't attack you to beta sin.
Whoa!
Okay,
Right around
well.
the corner there. To the left of the door.
Wasted as much of their time as I could.
Nice.
Sheesh. Hey, that's my drone. You should get a phone. Then we can all be Coomers.
What? What?
We can all be Coomers on the cams. Nice.
Activity. Neutralize the threat. Secure the container. 1 op 4 remaining.
Oh my.
Based Kami? I'm not saying any of this, but based Kami.
Oh.
Holy shit, based Kami.
Sheesh.
That was an ace, wasn't it?
Oh, got you, 9. It seems like 9 said he's back online. I don't know if he's ready to take your spot, Boiler.
Ask him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just warning you.
Nine can take my spot.
Oh,
You
okay.
sure?
Yeah.
I was gonna hang out with Nova a bit in a minute.
Oh yeah, he can take my spot.
He
I
said
was
we're
really hoping
good.
to get roasted more.
Well, why don't you both stick around? Because it sounds like Boiler's. Oh, there goes Miss Goo.
There goes Miss Goo.
Thanks for the match,
Goo
Goo.
is gone.
Please.
Bye, Bungu.
Bye, Pongu. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, Kai, look at.
That's nice.
Isn't that a cool uniform?
All right.
It says Bope.
9, you gotta in here now. Load her up. Load her up.
Oh, you've seen my beard, right?
Yeah.
For an operator, I never play.
You look old.
Do you look old?
Yeah, does it make me look old?
It certainly makes you look wizened. But yeah, I think
Okay.
that'd be a fair assessment. Like it makes you look more mature, maybe. Yeah, you know. I mean, it's not like it's gray or anything, but yeah, I think just it does give you an older looking face. I think that's fair.
I prefer it personally. I'm getting roasted by Nova because she was asking what I looked like without a beard, and I sent a picture of myself without a beard from a few years ago, and she's just absolutely roasting me.
Mm-hmm. You just can't win. I've been there.
Sometimes, no.
9, where are you at? 9, stopped responding. 9, please.
9, you're being summoned. We need someone to copy the sniper monkeys on the tree stump. Quickly.
Somebody start counting.
Yes.
1,
7, 4, banana, orange,
say banana again, please.
banana.
Thank you.
I don't know what just happened, but I don't like it.
Kelsey doesn't like the way I say banana.
That and Amazon.
Amazon?
Amazing.
You guys are just nationalist.
No, I was.
Okay, wait, what? How do you say Amazon?
No, he says Amazon. Sorry.
Oh. Wait, that's. What? That seems pretty normal.
I missed like half of the word.
Yeah, that's English for you. Better than French, at least. French is just.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Cheesy in surrender.
Yeah, what is it? There is an actual.
Okay, that is a hey, but also buffalo, 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 buffalo. Like that's a sentence.
You are the second person to hit me with that exact same gag as soon as I make that.
Yeah.
Oh, what's French for surrender?
Mais oui.
Yeah, of course everyone knows that. French don't have to say it a lot.
I need to introduce you guys to Quick so that way when we make a French surrender joke, he just starts going into the history of all the world wars and stuff.
Yep.
He like scares me sometimes, but in like the hilarious way, because he just like at one point sent a message randomly that was like, I just stayed up until 2 a.m. to identify which bomber is in this photograph, and it was just like this grainy fucking picture, and I was like, which one was it? And he's like, well, as you can see from these diagrams, it looks like the fuselage is just a little bit further stubby out. And I'm just like, okay,
Man, where are you?
you know, you got it. Good. You got the eye for it, not me.
Oh, okay. It seems like Rack might not make it on stream after all, which is okay.
I feel like that sometimes.
He big dribble.
Oh, what? You're asking if he smoked too much and he's just like zoinked out of his
I
mind?
just asked if he big dribble. I didn't ask if he's zoinked.
I'm asking if those mean the same thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know. He was coherent enough to text me.
On a scale of 1 to 7, which level of weed purgatory are you on?
Yeah. What level of baked are you?
I'm.
Best video 9 has ever sent me.
Oh, dude, 9. Okay, I love 9, but he does this thing. He's done it a few times where he like finds a video he really likes and just keeps sharing it. like over, like with everyone he meets, and sometimes the same people multiple times. Which I'm not saying I've never done the same thing, but
I've done that with one video, but the one video is against TOS, so I can't share it during stream.
oh, is it the one you?
What is it the one named Forno Slug? Because that's the one I'm thinking.
No, I was thinking the what the fuck is a millimeter or whatever,
Okay. I don't know that one.
and it's the soldier from TF2. Nine, let me know if you want to join VC. Just hop in the community
Playing
queue.
hostage.
I forgot to turn it off. I'm sorry. You want to leave? You want to just leave? It's quick match. We can leave. We can leave.
It's fine.
No,
okay.
it's fine.
Okay,
We'll
we're
play.
gonna
I'll get
commit.
don't worry.
We're
I'll get
committed.
fused.
I'll get fused.
Hey,
I'll get
pulling
fused.
9 into VC, or are you just leaving my man?
He literally just joined. I don't know who Danger is, but I'm not letting them in.
Danger.
Yo, 9
Whoa.
B9
honest.
Tarasu.
I'm back from the 1950s.
Yep, he's traveled
Oh,
all the way
yeah.
from the 1920s all the way to play Rainbow Six with us.
Yo, 9. You wanna after stream talk about electrical engineering stuff?
Oh god.
Yeah, I got a test tomorrow. So
Oh really? Like
yeah,
in electricity and
Fortify the
magnetism.
room.
yeah. Electrophysics. It should be okay. I have trouble learning physics though, so in
What?
hindsight, it was not a good idea to become a physics major.
I was gonna say, wait, I thought you were goated at physics.
I have a decent understanding, but
I'd be
I have
down.
to spend a lot of time.
Just put
I
on the
respect
test.
that.
Does anyone really have a true feeling of physics?
No.
Yeah.
Boom.
They asked me if I had a degree in theoretical physics. I said I had a theoretical degree in physics.
Oh
It's
my
like a
god,
look
what's
on a
that
board.
character's name in New Vegas?
Mr.
Mr.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. That's it. Jesus Christ.
Fucking- have
That
you
game's
seen the one where Fantastic takes over after the NCR loses?
Yeah.
I love that.
Should I throw a scope on this gun? I'm playing Frost with the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bright pink asshole.
Oh my god, dude.
Lord, right pink arsehole to you, sir.
I think the fact that you have the normal helmet really adds to it.
By the
It's
way,
like
there's some
you're
new
all
things
kitted out,
going
but you didn't have the extra $5.
Dude,
right.
this was an event years ago.
No, I didn't mean IRL. I meant like in game, in lore. You just like
Oh.
That's the equivalent of like if you had the PC you had
Days?
now, but you had to use a 1050 Ti because your graphics card didn't come in yet.
I have to use onboard graphics.
Oh, Bastion.
Oh! Nine, careful.
Bastion. Is that a...
Grenade!
oh
Oh, someone's up here.
1 minute. LMG.
Oh!
Grenade.
Someone's on the
over
ground.
here.
Ow.
Reloaded.
I didn't grab a t-shirt.
Bro, I can't see.
I'm afraid.
anybody. Fucking big blinded.
Op 4
Don't worry guys, I got the window.
successful.
Hell yeah.
All you'll hear in the background is just my LMG, really.
Damn, this storm is wild.
Is it
That's
coming our
crazy.
way? I hope
Oh,
so.
So what? So I should do the 1.5 scope. That's the only scope I got.
Yeah. I've been really liking suppressors on things at the moment, ever since they got buffed.
That's fair.
Oh yeah, somebody asked, not me directly, but I just heard somebody ask the question like, oh, did Cav get a buff in a way because they
No.
they buff suppressors and like who plays Cav without one?
But her suppressor doesn't count on her pistol because it's not technically a suppressor.
Oh, it's just her pistols like that.
It's just her pistol's like that, so her pistol technically didn't get a buff.
T-shirt time.
Excuse me, I need a t-shirt. Excuse me, excuse me.
Prepare for assault.
Please don't shoot the hostage.
What?
Shoot. 1 minute, shoot the hostage.
That's fun. That's
Whoa, 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 whoa.
He owes me money.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Is that why we have him?
Down
If you don't shoot the hostage, how?
I keep forgetting to play Alibi or Maestro.
Intimidate the enemy.
Or sorry, not Maestro. Oh yeah, Alibi or Maestro.
Yeah, then one of oh, that's a frag grenade.
Oops, boop.
Frag grenade.
Press the wrong button.
Oh, they're here. They're here. Maybe.
I'm
Maybe
down.
not. I may have lied.
Adding my +1.
Oh, they're down here with me. Careful, Kami.
Oh,
The what?
there's a fuck.
Oh, I got a GU mine.
I can't believe I did that.
Wait, did you just? Where did you kill?
Oh, top of the stairs, Bill.
Yeah, I got him.
Did you just? Did you just?
Yeah. We'll talk about it in a second. A little busy. Okay, so what happened was the Blitz ran in. The Blitz ran at me, flashed me. I just kept running around knifing, and as soon as I could see again, I managed to knife him.
Base. Little bastion.
Wait, so 9, who's Danger? Did you know who that was?
Carlos Danger.
9, you're not answering me.
Huh? What?
This is 1975.
Danger.
Who's
Danger.
who's
The commies?
okay?
Carlos
Oh, you
Danger.
left. You left.
Danger.
Danger sent a friend request 1 minute ago. What the fuck is going on?
Coming for you.
Your friend. You
I did
have
get-
dangerous friends.
I did get
Guy,
a
I think you named Danger.
He was probably in our last game.
No. In my server, when 9 was in the community queue, somebody named Danger was waiting with him.
They got a rook in case I can't get the ping.
But I was gonna say, today I got a random Discord message from somebody I've never met, but they're in my server. And
Based.
but it's like, it seemed like possibly just like spam or maybe even a bot.
Recruit.
And it was just this person was just like, hey, like, can we chat sometime, strictly business? And I literally just replied, I was like, hey, like, you know, thanks for taking the time to reach out, like, what about? And I even said, because I looked at their profile and it talks about like, I don't know, something chat engagement and NFTs, and I just said like, hey, what do you want to chat about? I see your profile mentions NFTs. Has not replied to me.
Heard at the Bored Ape Club.
Yeah. Fuck, how did I end up down here?
I don't know.
I hit random. I wanted it to put me with you guys.
Wow, he's lucky.
Don't worry, I know how to do fuse on a hostage map. I got rid of a camera.
Help. Kels. Hi.
Hi.
I'm with you.
Hello?
Alright.
Add a hammer?
There's a
Hopefully not
somebody. Oh, it bounced off? That's crazy.
What?
The Nitroso
Did it go
bounced
like that?
off my shield.
Yeah,
There's
it's pretty wacky.
he's right here. He's right here. Right. Ooh. I come. Oh man.
I tagged. He's at 1 hit.
Jesus Christ.
I know that dude.
Oh.
Friendly operator remaining.
They're all on my ping.
Oh, didn't realize
9.
we were playing with
Why is this?
Oh, I ran out of it.
Friendlies have been eliminated.
Shalom.
Wait, Rack, why are you in here? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm launching siege.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Cool.
You can swap out with me, Rack. I'm gonna go hang out with someone else after this game.
Perfect. 9. Why is this person named Danger DMing me, and
Carlos
all they
Danger.
said is "you disappoint me"?
I feel like why they messaged you is pretty clear.
What? I don't understand. Anyway, Rack, how long have you been here? Did I notice you like Rick?
I just joined.
Oh, okay, perf.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were just like twiddling your
You've been there
thumbs.
the whole time.
Always have been.
Need to look for the hostage.
Bonk, bonk.
Oh, I hear him.
Hey Chad, how's it going
Take him
tonight, guys?
downstairs.
I feel like I haven't talked to you as
Yo,
much
I was
as
right.
my team. Hope everyone's having a nice night and that this is
Oh.
chill. This all seems very fun right now. I don't want anyone,
I got the work.
excuse me, to get stressed out over Siege and
10
stuff.
seconds.
I'm so oh, down there. Wow. I'm
Visual on
I really just looked directly at you for a moment there, Nine, and waited for you to try to get away.
Get a hammer
I was
away
like a
from me.
deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Now I got a hammer away from me.
Alright, if you guys are pushing in, let me know. I'll do an adrenaline boost.
hey, how's it going?
Good. Nice. We haven't even
Oh!
done
Oh man, I just shouldn't have hit a second time. That was my own damn fault. Oh, my drone's kind of goated though.
that. That's good.
There is a rook at the end of this hallway. Or like, by ping to the...
Oh, behind us, guy.
Nice.
Alright, Kami, your drone's kind of aids. Alright, well,
Wow. Try to
that
throw it
was the
down,
rook.
get 3/4 of my rook.
Op 4 last operator.
Nice. Alright, I'm doing this, and I'm pushing.
wait. 9, what the fuck? You have 7
They're
kills?
on the right.
I don't know how it happened either, dude.
I don't know how I got 5.
They're on the right, looking through the mirror hole.
I had one good game.
It's okay. Kels, you were killing it last match, so don't even sweat it.
Oh,
Hey, now we get to go into overtime.
Hell yeah.
Sheesh.
Sheesh, man.
Rack, how stony baloney are you right now?
I forgot to get high. Hold on.
What?
Oh no.
What do you mean? I don't now I seriously don't understand his ominous text of just like, yeah, I don't know if I'll make it.
Hey, yeah, hold on. I'm updating OBS. I'm about to get high. I ended up talking to my parents for a while about a wedding I was at.
Space. Was it cool? Was there cake?
was it your wedding you just didn't know about until right now?
Yeah, it was my wedding the other day that I didn't know about until just now. And I talked to my parents
Dang,
about it. 'Cause
congrats.
I just completely missed it. Thank you.
So happy for you.
I appreciate it.
Why wasn't I invited though?
Because I fucking hate you.
Ooh, spicy.
Hostage location compromised.
They really are just gonna roll every drone into my mute stuff, huh?
I don't know if you thought that hurt me, but I don't care.
I'm happy for you.
Very mature.
That's crazy because I don't care.
I don't know if you think that hurt me, but I forget what you said.
Yeah, well, I said it first, so you're stupid for copying me. Cringe. Plus L, plus ratio,
Plagiarism is cool.
plus you're white. Maybe?
And hashtag maybe white question mark. Is
Vibes!
Rack white trending on Twitter?
Hashtag rack is black. But but it's rack is black question mark. What? Who just got diced?
Me.
Oh, this is weird. I just updated OBS.
Yeah, I would not have recommended that, by the way.
Christ, guys.
Yeah, rack, your shit's gonna be brokey.
Yeah, everything kind of broke you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to say don't update OBS. As soon as you said you were updating OBS.
It's too late.
4 eliminated.
That was fucking brutal. Oh wait.
Dude.
Both of them.
Alright. Thanks for joining, Boiler.
Yeah,
It's always
good.
nice to have you,
Always happy
man.
to join. Yeah, always a pleasure to join. I'm on most days. I got a test tomorrow though, so probably not tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank
Good.
you.
I'm gonna message
Yeah,
you every
good
hour
luck.
on the hour to ask how you did.
Thank you.
I'm gonna message you the second that the test starts, so that you get disqualified for having your phone on you.
Don't worry, it's an online test, so it won't disqualify me.
Oh, Discord call.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll stream the test. Don't worry, guys. My stream from here. And why is my mouse stuck in the upper left corner? There we
Watch my test live on Twitch.
go. Yeah. All right,
Watch me stream the
now
answers.
I'm gonna bow out that the game is closed.
Bye, Boiler.
GLHF, I'll be looking. Which sounds ominous, but still.
He'll be watching.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Por qué no los dos?
But do what?
I don't know. That's just the only thing in Spanish I've been saying lately.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Am I right?
I'm just waiting for.
Nine, what's up? How are you?
I'm good, dude.
I'm just waiting for Kai to snap at some point for various reasons.
Why?
Because that's just what you do in my mind.
I'm allowed. Look, people are allowed to speak more than one language.
How do you feel about
No.
the Queen's death?
Come
How do you
on.
feel about fucking losing Vietnam, you cunt?
We didn't lose. We just left.
You lost.
We did not
You
lose.
lost a bunch of people
we
with poo
just
sticks.
financially couldn't support it and decided that it was over.
I forgot it even happened.
Me too.
Lizzie's in a
You forgot
box.
it happened.
That was my AP history test, and I forgot Vietnam happened, so I failed.
Damn, you took AP history?
You probably don't even know
Oh,
what
shit,
Vietnam
I
is.
forgot. Forgot.
Kelsey, where's Vietnam?
Away from here.
Can you name a country next to Vietnam?
Mongolia.
Jesus Christ.
9/11.
Am I right?
No.
Oh fuck. I could probably find it if you gave me a map.
Like Laos, Cambodia.
Oh, Cambodia was my second guess.
Oh, drones are coming in.
NA education over here.
Well, yeah, you have to understand, Kai, that like,
We didn't all
like-
go to Hogwarts.
yeah. So US history classes are first of all very US centric, but then when they're not, they're just like Eurocentric. So
They're also centered to your region, so I learned about Wales.
5 seconds left.
And I'm also going to be honest with you, that's geography.
Bomb located by op.
I like
Oh, yeah?
Wales.
Well, shut up.
yeah, but I'm saying like, never really learned about Asia in general,
Wow.
Yeah, there is a weird absence of.
or Australia for that matter, or Africa only a little bit because the slave trade.
Or the many
Pause.
crimes of the royal family. We learned about tea, though.
What the fuck is going on over here?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
There's a large Serbian man running at me.
Oh, that's me. My bad.
No, it's Kel's playing Capcan. What do you mean? Oh, whoa! There's a Kali. There's Kali on the ground. She's on the ground. I got her. Oh, there's a. It's Blitz. I mean,
Do
oh.
not die.
I need a T-shirt, and I can't find it.
Okay, I got her. Oh, hey, Rack's now playing Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
I need a T-shirt.
Oh, help! Help!
Yeah?
There's a Finka across from where my body was, and an Osa.
Oh, I see him.
Her? I'm kidding, by the way. I know you weren't.
Four last op.
Just a
Told ya.
very quiet. I'm kidding.
Peek, damn it, peek.
I peaked in high school.
Successful.
No, no, you didn't.
Anyway,
I meant that in a good. I mean, you're still going up, man. Don't worry about it.
You peaked in high school. No, you sucked then too.
Ouch.
Fuck. This thing rips.
Yo, who's playing Bill from Dead by Daylight?
Aye.
You go.
Yeah.
Just cough like a baby. Tongue out.
Yeah. My ability's actually dead hard.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs.
Oh, I thought we were calling Rack Bill because he was coughing because Bill smokes, not you being Kite. Oh, that makes sense.
No.
That
fucking
makes more sense.
Rack's Ned Flanders.
No, I got it. No, I got.
I diddly
No, it
do
was
there,
more.
neighbor
It was
Rooney.
him coughing.
Yeah. So no, okay. I'm not stupid. You're stupid.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. You're.
And she's your wife, so she's right.
Oh, get fucked, nerd.
Look, 80 cents to my dollar.
Hey, this
You
is how we
can't.
met.
You can't keep saying that.
He
I mean,
can't use it for everything.
I beg you to never stop saying that.
I don't care. I make cakes for a living. What the fuck do I care?
Down to 5 seconds.
I have fun.
So do I.
No, you don't. You're miserable.
I get off telling Apple customers to eat shit.
That's true. Tell them to go to the Apple store down the road and good luck.
Right. Go and speak to a Miss Pongu. She'll fix your phone for you. Because
For
I can't
free.
be asked.
For free every time.
I'll never say for free. We don't.
Don't worry, Nine. I'll back you up. Don't worry. Nine, I got you. Don't worry. I'm right here. Nine, what the fuck are you doing?
Stressed out.
Okay.
One's at that doorway again.
You're stressing me out, man. I was trying to make you anxious by like stomping my feet behind your silent Cav.
There's a jackal out there. Just one tap.
Oh,
please.
fug. Nerd's on
Rack.
you. Don't rack me.
What am I hearing? What's happening? Oh.
They're
Oh,
both out
there's
there.
somebody right here. There's somebody right. They went to the left of this window. They're flashing. Don't. Oh.
Oh.
What? How? Look.
Oh, is trash. Confirmed.
Nice, Nine.
Pongu, that's what he
Killed
does.
someone with my
He
pistol?
tells them to come to your Apple
I didn't even
store.
realize.
No. No.
Exhaust.
What gun even is that? I've never seen that in my life.
It's her primary.
That no one ever uses?
I use it every time.
I think that explains a lot.
Why can't I see
Ouch. That
text chat?
is hurtful.
It's probably turned off for you. Oh, I have it turned off on your account.
Oh.
Because you said, and I quote, I don't want to get banned.
Oh yeah, because you were using it. Oh, I need to pick somebody, and I don't know who else to play.
Margaret.
Margaret
Margaret
Thatcher.
Thatcher. Oh!
Hey!
Hey!
Who? What's Margaret Thatcher from, by the way?
Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
No, that's what I thought.
No, she's from the newest update. Don't let her fool you.
Okay, cool.
That was actually a crazy ask, bro.
No, that is what I
What
thought.
show is she from again?
No, I didn't say it. No, I said where is she from? Like where is she from? Like
You
what?
said what?
No, but that's not what I. Yes, but what I meant was like, is she a real person? Is she from a game or a movie or what? But
Hey.
I had a
New Stranger Things.
Can someone
season
clip that,
comes out,
please?
This guy
Is Margaret
thinks
Thatcher a real person?
every new name.
I think every politician is just a lizard person.
Yeah.
Hot take. Not even a hot take.
that is a
Lukewarm take. Thank you.
I don't remember how to play this, guys, so it's gonna be fun.
You got fun
Just behind me.
grenades.
Oh, hey.
I just threw a something up there. Hey, I said destroyed something. What's up, 9?
Hello.
Hello.
In there.
Hello.
Or you can jump right in. Goodbye.
How do I?
No, just come.
This button. Oh, this button.
I went down when I meant to go up.
Cool, cool, cool.
Going on
Hey.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Little shield friend.
No, dude, get behind me.
Just because you said that, I'm taking a different route. There's a Mira in there.
Can I throw a grenade yet?
Oh, okay. There's a zombie right at ping. She failed to grenade me. She's trying to shoot me. She's behind that. No. Oh, what?
Yeah, stay behind the shield and my balls.
Oh, I thought. Oh. I thought Kami vaulted and.
Damn. Victory Royale.
Still the biggest waste of $15 I've ever spent.
Did you just see that lightning, or was that me?
Nah, I think you're losing your marbles.
I never had them.
I saw the lightning.
Okay. Oh, yep, there it is.
Get out of my basement.
Bro. Kels, you sound like the first like Neanderthal discovering fire. Something like, oh, I saw it. Look.
I really like storms. They get excited.
Is this like when you recharge your witch powers?
Storms are hype.
No, I don't like witches.
You don't like witches? Sorry.
No. It's the only spooky thing I don't really care for.
Fucking god. Look, these next 3 months are hell for me.
Spooky, 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 spooky.
Oh, why? Because Apple event?
No, it's spooky shit. Which means I have to put up with fucking spastics who go, I love Salem!
And I just go on a random Monday midday to
Deal
buy
with
my
it.
normal clothes.
Fuck off. You're not a witch. Your fucking dog's not a witch. You're just a normal human being.
Okay, look, I burnt my thumb.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
The amount of fucks that I give is so minutely small.
Mom, Dad, stop fighting.
Don't take toast out of the toaster. I learned a lesson. Don't stick hand in toaster.
Oh, dude. I saw 4chan. What's it called?
Put in toasters though.
What's it called? A 4chan post, like green text or whatever.
Oh yeah, the green.
And
text.
it was like, you know, be me, yada yada, like live with this girl, something. I gotta find this. And it basically ended up, it's like, oh, she wants to take a bath with me, and it turns out the writer is a toaster the entire time.
Oh my god.
It's like, it's wild, dude. It's so well written.
What?
My favorite kind of surprise.
A toaster?
Yeah, the bath bomb surprise.
I just thought you were implying that you get very surprised by toasters, but you
I do.
you like it.
I do. I get very surprised by toasters.
You walk in the kitchen, you're like, oh.
We did get a new toaster and he did that. So.
Dude, it's like cats with pickles or whatever. Which, can I just say that I think those videos of cats being afraid of
with pickles.
Yeah. So
Cucumbers.
yeah, cucumbers. Sorry. So there's these videos of cats like jumping when they see a cucumber, but it's because the cats turn around, the owner places a cucumber, cat turns, and it's like, what the fuck is that? It's not because it's a cucumber specifically. It's because he like placed an item where they didn't expect it. Hey, Rack's playing Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
You know it, baby.
Please tell me you guys also keep getting notifications that he's playing.
No.
No.
Oh
friends with me.
no.
I also have my notifications turned off.
Yeah, how do I fix this? Please help. Make it stop. Oh, I found it. Saved.
Oh no.
So you guys come here often?
Yeah, this is a crazy long queue time for.
I'm just gonna re-queue it. My
Did you guys do any ranked placement?
No.
Yeah. First time I've touched this game in like 4 years. No, had to be less than that. I've only been stuck with you 4 years, right? Kai's ignoring me. It's okay.
What do you mean stuck?
I haven't played this game since I started learning how to video edit because it was a video of this game, and I
Yeah.
spent so long staring at it that I was like, I'm sick of this damn game.
I do think that's a fire video though. Whenever you release that.
Oh, thank you. I've got to make a handful more before I.
Damn, Rick, I didn't know they put you in this game.
What?
You're Ned Flanders.
Oh. Yeah. How did Billy do there? God and
Identically how
stuff.
Neighborina.
I beat my kids.
Oh,
Hi, kitty. How's it going? Right, where am I? Whoa, dude, I feel really fast. Is that a thing? Like during the
you
pre-
clicked on-
Yeah. Some of
Yeah.
the operators are faster.
but like only at the start. Like only during the prep.
I'm like mashing E, like, why I can't flip arcade?
I've never noticed this painting being here.
Thanks.
Look at that.
Who put boobies in the wall?
10 seconds left.
I don't like how fast I am.
Yeah, did they update that?
Yeah, we were just talking about this. It's like a new thing during the prep. But you're saying it's not every op?
no, it's only the free speed ops that get it.
Wild.
Interesting.
Got 1.5.
Yeah, on
in that
Kels.
window.
Said on you.
Yes, on my corpse.
Monty on me.
Oh! That was a knock. Dude, I swear, I look away at the worst times. Oh, that's a sick painting. Oh, wow. Sorry.
You know me. Never stay gawking.
Crack, how about the last time we went to the mall and we get out of your car? And I forget why, but I just started making those noises.
I have no idea. And you wouldn't tell me why. You wouldn't tell me what was happening.
And you're like, stop. You're embarrassing.
Bro,
and I'm like,
there's people here. There's people looking at me and this guy going Ooga, wah, wah, wah.
that's the best part is I'm just staring at him, and so they're looking at him, not me. Like, bro, why is this guy doing this to you?
Me. Yeah.
They're like, are you okay?
Well, he was your handler.
How many likes do y'all help in parking garage?
I do that too. I do that as well.
That's so bad.
Nah, it's worth it.
They're loading
Oh,
bags in the car, and he's like, "Help! She's trying to kidnap me." No, I'm not. You
see,
scared
I don't say
children.
she's trying to
And
kidnap
an umbrella.
me. I will scream like I'm in horrific pain.
Help, I've been trafficked from the UK.
No, she hasn't. In it.
Op 4 located a bomb. Protect
We should talk about the first time Nine met Kai.
No, we shouldn't.
I love that story.
Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
9 did a dumb.
So we were playing Minecraft, and it was Paige, Nine, and I, and we like edged Nine into like doing a British impression, and then Kai joins, and we're like, Nine, you gotta stop. And like, Nine, please. And he just kept doubling down. has never met Kai in his life, has no idea.
I got somebody.
Oh, that's funny though. Good
I
bit.
got 2 buddies.
Oh my god, nine.
Jeez.
Oh! 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 I got fused.
Where from?
Out of the window, near my body. It's a small room. Like an in-betweeny.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, you
Where
got
I just died
iced.
on my body.
Yeah.
Oh, right behind me, right behind me.
Mr. Noopy, you got this? Shakes. Gotta go fast. Oh! Oh.
Operator standing.
Same guy got me. Same place.
So clutch or kick?
1 op 4 remaining.
The Ibana was pretty far. Yeah, definitely. I don't think she's gonna come all the way around. Tense. I don't want to break his focus. I feel like I'm watching a shark hunt. This is insane.
Hell yeah.
Hostiles eliminated.
That was... I felt like I was watching a shark hunt or something.
Yeah.
The way you just saw, like, her head go by and he just slowly turns. Damn. Why am I number 5? I made the party. Rack, I just need you to know you're saying that from the bottom of the leaderboard. But you still are better than most of... Never mind. There's the dude with no kill. They...
Apparently learned to play something other than Sledge because I don't remember how to play anything.
Yeah, I need another easy attacker.
Use your drone to locate a bomb.
Kai, can you turn on text chat so I know what the fuck's happening?
Eating
seconds.
commie dick.
You're... Nine.
Nine, I read that as how do I aid?
That's what I read at first too. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Where are they?
Upstairs.
To go.
Don't know where.
Oh
but
my God.
upstairs. I can hear it.
Insertion in 5 seconds.
Nope, they're downstairs.
You must
Oh,
locate and
I'm
defuse
just
the
deaf.
Or the basement.
Yeah.
I don't know how to thermite, so we're gonna learn it.
You just take it out and put it down.
Also not for you're not thermite, you fuse.
That's what I meant.
Oh, you just put it on the window
Or the floor.
or the wall. Oh, stairs. Help!
Where
help!
are they?
Help! Stairs. And behind. Okay, well they're in the office.
They're in office.
Rack, can you just play the game, Rack?
Yeah, I'm with 9.
I know you don't type fast.
Listen, I like to take my time.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can't fuse the reinforced walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
No. What?
Yes, you can.
Whoa!
Yeah, they buffed him. He just takes an extra.
Oh, I forgot about the drill. You're so right.
Top right.
I'm gonna
Also-
call the bombs.
Shield Fuse is a crazy choice,
Yeah.
but I love
Me
it.
too.
Bonk, bonk.
The diffuser has been secured.
Oh, and the mums again.
Op 4 last operator standing.
Oh, he's across the hall from me.
Nice.
Op 4 neutralized. Mission
It was a 5v3, so
Yeah, I don't have fuse set up at all, so I just went with whatever I had.
nice. John losing.
Yeah, shut up. Stop having manners, Bo.
No, but see, okay, but you don't know how I meant it, so
Just love we're all bullying them, and you're like, "Hey guys, good game."
which honestly I think makes it worse. You know what I mean? I feel like if somebody's really upset and you just try to hit them with like the, hey, like, I get where you're coming from. I'm sorry to hear that.
You tried.
Yeah,
It's
man.
okay.
That's why I stick my tongue out at people instead of in traffic instead of flipping people off.
I give people a thumbs up. And I don't know if Bo knows this, but I will out loud go, dude, he's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I have heard you do this.
Out loud will say that. I give him
Tommy just
dude,
offers
that
people
guy,
gum in traffic.
that guy has a big hog, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, my new thing right now is leaning out the window and going, "You want a piece of gum?"
Oh, dude, Rack, I need to get that sticker, that rear window sticker that just says, it says, you may as well get in my car at this point. I was surprised.
You may
Like,
as
go
well get in my car.
I was just gonna say,
trying to
I was,
kidnap you.
so it's the car I drive, but like, I don't own it. It's my parents' car. And so my dad drives it sometimes. So I showed the sticker to him, like, hey, like, how would you feel if I put this on the car? And surprisingly, he laughed at it and he didn't say no.
Okay. Going for the Sean Connery approach.
Yeah.
Bug.
5 seconds.
Nine has a very funny video of me. I want Nine to explain it. Though.
Yeah. Nine's been muted for a while. I think he's
Oh, god damn it. It's a video of Kai slowly rolling down the window and screaming, "Cold in it!" Like something. The streets of Boston.
Boston. Don't worry, I got
Mean
this.
Streets of Boston. You just walk.
I know, that was the bit. Kills, you're not bulletproof.
Got some olive oil I can get rid of this fire with.
Damn, this fire's really just going. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, whoa. Duck. He went to the right. Yeah, okay. They blocked this. Okay, I'm gonna. Hello? He might be behind this pillar. I don't even know. No. I don't know where he went. Hello? Oh, there's a. Hi! Who's this drone? Hi! How's it going, little buddy? Why are you scared? Oh, it's a Mozzie. I'm like. I thought it was one of you guys. I'm at site. I'm just gonna plant. Wait, do I not? Oh, I didn't. Rack, can you come plant?
Yeah,
Just
I'm
get
working
behind me. Get behind me. Oh,
Yay!
you dropped something.
I did nothing.
Dude.
He scared me.
I was fearing for my life.
It's like that Sam thingy video where he's like, "I will drop 4 mags into a crowd to protect myself."
This guy's already tilted.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky ass bitch. All I did was smile at you.
That's my favorite thing in League. You kill someone once and watch their fucking mental just deteriorate.
Well, you have to hit them with the well played.
We need to locate a bomb.
Burp.
If I get 1 kill, I'll be satisfied.
I don't care. I'm
Oh, we're
just
against
happy
another
to be here.
TTV.
We are, yeah. I didn't bother checking if they're live or anything.
Trapped in the corner. Oh, I'm free.
No, Nine, come back. Why?
10 seconds before insertion.
Nope, can't put that. You're streaming.
5 seconds before insertion.
Sorry.
Oh, I want another cushion.
Must locate and defuse a bomb.
Where are they?
Backwards slash.
Upstairs somewhere.
No, it's Prada.
Actually, it's Louis Vuitton.
Everybody,
I forget how to kick doors open.
Melee?
Yeah.
why would you?
I'm trapped.
I know.
Yeah, I don't remember what I bound my melee key to.
Oh, we want your mouse buttons.
It used to be, yeah, but it's not anymore.
I'm here.
Yeah, thanks.
Guys, why am I the last one in line?
Because you're slow.
Oh, well, okay. All right. Is that what we're saying nowadays? Oh, ow, oh, owie, owie. Goyo hurt. Fire. Ooga.
Yeah, I don't know what my melee button is. I can't break anything. I'm stuck outside.
V by default.
Nope. I wish I was kidding.
All right. Tell me where am I going? Send me.
That one there.
Fuck, dude. How?
Oh, okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. There's a alibi right to the right. Is the real one.
Oh.
Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. To the left.
On the stairs.
Oh, there's
There you go.
also okay. There's 2 of them here. They're trying to. Oh man, the Mozzie's back there. So Mozzie's behind the.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sheesh.
Oh, come on. Let me change this melee button.
Right, we just win defense.
Yeah.
A specialty. Where is it?
I don't think we need 2 roamers.
Am I
I don't think
stupid?
anyone's gonna get that reference.
I spelt it wrong.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs protected.
In a ding.
In the binding ding.
Yeah.
You guys can't start this right now.
In the.
For some reason, that then reminded me of the. Why are you gay?
Go to
I am not gay. You are gay.
Go down.
You are a transgender.
I try.
Bomb location compromised. Plan accordingly.
Oh man.
Customize controls.
Jesus
Down to
Christ.
I'll customize your controls, baby.
Okay.
It helps if you actually look. I'm gonna be real with you.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Don't worry, Nine. I'm here. Don't worry. Don't worry, Nine.
Hey,
There you
man,
go.
Don't worry.
You can wipe your toes on that.
I just. It's not going well for me.
Yeah, make sure you hit apply before you close it. That always
It
gets
never
me.
goes well in the binding.
I feel like we're all just roaming.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, where? Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, hello, my friend.
How? How did none of those hit? There. So there's the floors, and there was somebody in one of my mats. Oh, there's okay. They just shot a camera. There's coming up the stairs. Nomad. By where I died. So it's like. Oh my. Sheesh, Kami.
9, have you got impact grenades? Throw one at this
haven't.
wall here.
Which one?
I have C4. Does that help?
Oh, you're fucked. Oh, whoa. 9, never mind, you're goated.
1 op 4 remaining.
They had one on site somehow. They just killed him.
Oh.
It's Flores.
Jump out the window, you won't. Go out the window.
Oh, he's literally one shot.
Yay.
Hey.
Most of my aim there.
Damn, Rack, you're aiming like our tattoo artist.
All right, Muhammad Ali.
For real, dude.
So, Rack and I, we have the same tattoo of this like wavy skull on our thighs. And
Fucked them up both in different ways.
mine's definitely better though.
Way.
Wait,
Yeah.
you got a butchered tattoo?
A little bit.
We both do, and they're matching.
But it was already supposed to be wavy, so it just kind of adds to it.
Kai's got a Crunchwrap Supreme. That's a good one.
I don't have a Crunchwrap Supreme.
You do have a Crunchwrap Supreme. It's definitely not a Destiny symbol.
It's gonna be getting tapped.
Oh, mom and dad are fighting.
Rip.
Secure the area.
Oh.
My brother-in-law got the...
Sorry. I was tapping back in. My bad.
You do that in every game we play. You spawn in and shoot the fucking wall.
No, I don't think it happens that often.
You were saying
It's
that?
literally gonna be in the Ready or Not video.
My brother-in-law got the Full Metal Alchemist like blood seal.
No.
Bag,
Full Metal Alchemist.
but he didn't realize it. The tattoo artist put it in upside down.
How did he? Did he not show with a mirror and say like, "Hey, is this placement good?" Or didn't he have like his partner? Like, couldn't she have been like, "Yeah, it looks good."
Before he met my sister.
Right, because brother-in-law.
Plus ratio,
That makes sense.
I guess.
Do I get hurt by this?
No. Come on. Did you place down t-shirts? Where are the t-shirts? Oh, t-shirts.
Hello.
T-shirts.
Here?
Me when I
For
wake
t-shirt?
up and I'm looking for clothes.
Oh, they're
T-shirts
pushing in.
breaks down the
Oh.
fucking wall.
Nine, we both know I'm gonna go break that again. It's just too fun, and I know we have unlimited things. Oh, there's somebody peeking right here.
One's pushing already. Bathroom.
Ah!
Did you? That was rude.
He
Oh,
got in front of me. I'm sorry, 9.
I also shot somebody.
It was me.
Okay. I was shooting at the Russian albino lady. I don't even know.
Lilana.
Ilana.
That was Sledge.
Oh, I got somebody here. Big shield boy.
Whoa. Where the fuck
Help.
did that come from?
Help!
Oh, the Flores. Man.
The floor is lava.
You know what? Fair enough.
I hope you
I
said.
don't think that went far enough, Kelsey.
No.
Go get him, Tiger.
You gonna die yet, buddy? Please, I don't want to keep playing. This isn't a fun game. I don't like it.
Damn. Okay, that escalated.
That was
Yeah.
so BM.
Op 4, last op.
No!
You just gotta
Please.
hit him. You just gotta punch him.
15 seconds left.
Yeah, just keep. What? To Kels. Honestly, fair. No, we win. Just don't let him plant. Just don't let him plant. We win.
Just a point. Woohoo.
Time limit reached.
Okay.
That was funny.
Wait, do you have? I just realized you have the fucking can on that shotgun.
Bo is the only person in the lobby not to have gotten a kill.
Hey, got an assist though. That was more than 900 kills.
No.
No.
Yeah, they didn't get assists, and I got one.
Oh.
I have more assists than them.
Streamer logic.
Actually,
I am wearing glasses right now.
me too, but that's because I need them to see.
Me too.
I have my gamer glasses on. They don't fucking help. It just makes everything a little yellow.
Improves my aim. No, I got the blue light filter on my day-to-day glasses.
Makes my aim twice as good. Too bad it was 0% to begin with.
Hey man, polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Yeah, but it'll be a shiny fucking turd, you know? And somebody will buy it.
And someone will buy my shit.
But yeah, no, so Rack, like what your glasses have are a reflective coating compared to like the glasses I have. The lenses are actually a bit yellow. So rather than reflecting the blue light, it's actually filtering out some of it.
Yeah, they make it. They make.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like my
clear as
actual like distance glasses, like when I don't wear contacts, they have the same thing. But I just found it like when I was researching blue light glasses, it was interesting because you have ones that are clear lenses with a reflective coating, and then like yellow lenses that actually filter it out.
Yeah, I also got polarized lenses.
Hey,
on my,
dexterity.
Sunglasses.
Oh yeah, these are legit gaming glasses, Mary.
Oh, this looks way different.
I do. Sorry.
Oh, this looks way.
I do
fucking
wear
different.
contacts though, Mary.
I guess I haven't played House in a while. There's no window here anymore.
Yeah, house is built different, you know.
Fuck.
There's too many windows. Oh, okay, Dexterity. You're the same name. Somebody, please remind me to go pee after this match and not queue up. Because I will just mindlessly queue up.
Hey.
All right.
You, sir.
Oh, okay. I guess not. Oh, is this supposed to be open? Is that normally open? 9, they're misreading your name. How does that make you feel? What the fuck? Did you echo drone me?
orange
What the,
wrong.
what just happened?
Very intimate spot.
Yeah.
Welcome back. This is the strat.
And I'll be in the shower back here, baby.
Everybody's finding my stuff.
Oh, I found they entered here. Somebody's on fire or something?
Cool.
Oh, they're on. Okay, I got an Ash. There's somebody here in like the front entrance. Yep, there's a sledge and a Finka. And Finka's going downstairs.
Going downstairs, you said?
Yeah, downstairs basement.
Oh.
Finka's upstairs actually. Just went in here.
was gonna
There's
say,
also
'cause I'm
somebody
down.
call me by you. There's a buck.
1 op 4 remaining.
Finka's on the stairs pinging.
Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, die, bitch!
Finka's going back upstairs. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mission successful.
Damn.
Rar.
So they turned it into like a gur, I thought.
That was my bit.
Iron Dexterity put in your chat high enemy team.
Because they're
Oh, because they're
top fragging on the enemy team.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Fortify the room. You need to keep the hostage secure.
Oh, also remind me to turn off hostage. Or I guess we all need to.
I
Do not care at this point.
same
I have
plan.
it turned off, but yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really work out too well last time.
We won.
Yeah, but I died.
And we were number one.
Prepare for assault.
I'm gonna find a different corner to sit in.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I just potato
oh.
aimed that.
me too.
I'm.
Okay. As long as we all suck together.
Look, you want to hit my toes? Just give me a little tickle.
We suck together.
Hostage location compromised. Prepare for assault.
So, I currently have the long barrel on Frost's like rifle. Is that what I should run or
No, I like suppressor personally.
okay?
Oh no!
But obviously the
By
angle
the
grip
stairs.
and the scope.
The stairs
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
One's basement.
Whose nitro cell is this? Because it's scaring me.
Mine. I'm already dead. Don't worry about it. There's one in kitchen.
Behind you, Bo.
I know. Thank you.
You said there's one basement.
One was basement, yeah.
Do you know where? Because I'm
Oh, he shot me
basement.
from kitchen.
Oh, they're out this window. Oh, behind me. Coming from that makes sense. You were saying kitchen. That you know what?
There's a drone.
Hey, wait,
on that
hold
table
on.
Behind you, rack in that hallway.
What did you say?
Drone.
Drone on that table behind you.
Oh,
There
thanks.
you go.
I
One's
saw
on
the
ping.
peepos.
Both on last two are on ping.
Upper hallway.
One's just gone into master bedroom.
To master.
Yeah, I'm on ping too.
What the fuck? Oh, okay.
Found him.
It's in kitchen.
Hey, Soupy.
Kitchen.
Thanks for popping in. I'm guessing you're Soupy Leopard.
Op 4, last operator standing.
Dude, the way the pistol was shaking in her hand, I think is so funny.
Prank him, Chad.
Why would you bring a breach charge instead of a hard breach? Do you get 2? Maybe the breach charges are faster?
Yeah, breach charges are faster.
Okay. I'm gonna bring a smoke grenade. Should I bring a breach charge?
Do whatever you want to do.
Okay, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Literally asking for advice, but cool.
It's fine. I believe in you.
No, you don't. Don't lie to me like that.
Dude, it's casuals against people with like 9 arms. I told you.
And I'm trying to learn.
It's not just me.
Bonk.
Sorry, I've just offended the guy on the other team.
Yeah, what if he only has 8 arms?
Oh, there's Mozzie. I'm so stupid. Be careful going to master. There's
10 seconds to go.
bonk.
5 seconds before insertion. Green light on hostage.
Who's the 5th?
Didn't see.
Guess we'll find out.
I don't know what to do with this character, but we'll find out too.
Who are you?
There is a
You
gun.
just sledge, but you can do it.
Like, there's a hole through the wall there. At least there was.
Oh, fuck.
Bless you.
Careful. How? I feel like I scraped his noggin there.
Oh, come on! I was behind a block of wood. Fuck that.
That's Lesion. Lesion by ping. Who put a drone behind a... Kels?
I tried to jump on top of it and we ran out of time. I can still see the stairs.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Very cool.
That's a big try hard. Am I getting packet loss? Fuck off, game.
Bro.
Tommy's playing Minecraft. Oh, God, bro! That was so clean.
3 seconds ago while I was alive.
Damn.
I love that his gun fires 50.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Okay, everyone needs to turn off hostage. So you
You
gotta
need to take a piss.
I do need to go take a piss, but go to options, matchmaking preferences, and turn off hostage for. Do we care if it's bomb or secure?
No,
Okay, just not hostage.
just not hostage.
Okay, I'm gonna go pee real quick.
I'm gonna call it there.
Okay.
I think I am too, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right.
Thanks for joining,
Have a good
guys.
Good night.
Anyways, have a good night.
Chat, say goodnight to
Hello.
Kami,
Please.
Kells, and 9.
you.
All right, Rack, you gonna stick around for a bit? Or are you calling it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go pee. Don't say anything to my chat you wouldn't say to your own chat.
Yeah, fair enough. Hold on, I have to cough.
Yeah, Dexterity, that
What's
was
going on, chat? How you doing?
that was a good game. I just hope you had fun, man. I'll be right back.
I should probably pull up chat so I can see what you're saying, huh? I've been pretty busy lately. I had basically everything going on, like something going on every single day this week. I had, or not every day, but every weekend rather. I had a baptism at the beginning, and then I've had 2 weddings. I have a concert with Bo next weekend. Whole bunch of stuff going on. My brother got married the other day. That was a heck of a time. Had to drive a few hours up north, but it was nice out on a farm he owns. So yeah, I'm working on all kinds of different stuff. I gotta figure out when I'm gonna be uploading YouTube videos because I'm working on editing a bunch of those right now. Been working on that with Bo. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline for everybody that's been hanging out. I'm excited about it.
Okay, I'm back. You still here?
Yep.
You need to go pee or anything?
No, I just been vamping.
Appreciate it. Have a nice night, Dexterity, if you're still here. Thanks for dropping in. Oh my god, that's such a cute email.
I heard that there was some interesting stuff at work lately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Sorry, let me just queue up first. It was funny. When I got back, I was gonna make a joke like, "Hey, just you and me. We can get intimate now. A little steamy, private stream."
Ooga.
No, you know what I was gonna say though is so the whole security job, like part of the reason I took it, right, is like a self-image thing. Like, and I realized you don't help, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but I mean like. I am very clearly like a large guy, like above average height, size, charm, charisma, you know? And so, but you are even taller and bigger than me. So like, you just perpetuate this image of myself from high school where like, I'm just a stick and I can get like,
I'm keeping you humble. That's all. Baby.
Yeah, no, for real. Not like the charmer.
That's funny though.
You know, good looks though. I mean that's So yeah, man. No, but like I don't know how to like go about this, but yeah, I mean, you know, like in high school I was a stick, and I was like I grew up just as a nerd, very like pacifist, didn't want to rock the boat, didn't ever like get into fights, like didn't ever want to get into fights. And so like, yeah, like taking a security job, it was about, a big part of that was like getting over that and like getting to a place where it's like, I don't feel like I'm going to escalate situations, but like I'm confident in my ability to.
Basement.
Oh, that was very loud.
Yeah, you should probably turn them down. But like confident in my ability to, like, I could handle a situation if it comes down to it. Yeah. And also just like the general presence. Aw, Kels. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for joining. Thank you for reaching out first. Have a nice night. And thanks for lurking if you're going to stick around.
Sorry, I was dealing with settings there to make it.
No, it's all good. I was talking. I was vamping with chat.
I do think it's kind of funny that like we haven't talked much in a little while just because we've both been busy.
Oh my god,
so
working.
It's funny that our first one-on-one conversation in a little while is just live.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it happens. And you know, I imagine for
Cavi on me, interrogating me.
Oh no. He tried. Bro, are you joshing me right now?
Hey. Hey.
EU Cav mains. I don't know if I can, Fuck. Oh, I'm out! I have to reload? That was, dude, biggest pants down moment of my life. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what we thought would happen.
For gore.
Yeah, I've really been rocking that one lately. For gore, or like strem, just like removing.
Never for gore.
Yeah, but yeah, I imagine for a lot of like big content creators, big streamers specifically, like no, just content creators, like a lot of their interactions are producing stuff. I mean, just think of like celebrities, like say actors, like you meet other actors on the job, and like I don't know, like you can't keep in touch with everyone. Like you only have so much time and so many like, yeah, so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to, try to work with people you enjoy working with, because like, I don't know.
That's what's actually amazing about Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston's friendship.
Yeah.
They met working on Breaking Bad, and they like own an alcohol together now.
Yeah,
And
tequila.
they're like buds.
Yeah,
Which
no.
not everyone can say.
Yeah. No, there's definitely, I can't name one off the top of my head, but there's definitely like co-stars who fucking hate each other. Or like at the very least just never don't talk anymore, which like is totally understandable. But yeah, it's really cool when like
imagine, you know how like talk show hosts have like their sidekick that just also sits on the couch to kill air.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that it's like a lot of those, they don't talk to each other outside of work. You know what I mean?
Oh, like the, yeah, like the
Andy
co-host.
Richter and Conan O'Brien probably don't like get coffee.
Exactly who I was thinking of. No, I don't know. They do seem like friends.
They do, but it's their job to.
I guess. Yeah, that's the hard part. It's like hitting on somebody who's like in the service industry. It's like it is literally their job to be nice to you.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, I'm behind you. Okay. Follow me.
Hey,
what is that guy doing over there?
that guy he's taking a nap.
There's an Ella right above me. There's an Ella right here.
Ella. Hey.
So I was trying to warn you that there was an Ella right there, and that you should be careful.
I think you meant that she was resting her fucking chin on.
Yeah, so I was trying to let you know that there was an enemy, and that she was gonna kill you with a gun. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's. I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot recently because, like, at this security job, I have some coworkers who, like, I like them. They're very nice. I have no problems with them. But, like, we're not friends. Like, if they asked, I would hang out outside of work, but I'm not really gonna ask.
Damn it, you motherfuckers, you left me.
Big dog. Wait, why do it? Dude. Damn.
Well, shit.
I need to turn him down a little bit. Fuck! It closed the settings on me. Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know, like, obviously there's a lot of times and people where it's like you just have to take the job you can get, right? Make ends meet, whatever. But I do think it's important to try to like work with people that you enjoy working with. They don't have to be your friends, but like, yeah, I don't know. Think about who you spend your time with, whether it's in your especially in your free time, but even at work, just being like, are these good people for me? And if you have the privilege to change that, then, do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure, bud.
Oh, yeah. Something Canadian. I don't know.
Something.
Maple syrup and handshakes.
Pieces of ham.
Hey.
Slices of ham.
but you have to refer to it as bacon. It's Canadian bacon.
Yeah, Mary has a really good point. It can actually be hugely demoralizing to work around people who aren't at least pleasant. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, even if it doesn't feel like in the moment they're actively bringing you down, it just adds up.
Down to 10 seconds.
And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be here anymore. And I think that's what happened with me at my last job, like sales job, where I met Kai. Like, I think it just got to a point.
Sucks to work with, so
Well, I was in a different department, but I mean, that's another thing is like the people, and a whole nother topic is like the people you're friends with might not necessarily be good coworkers or roommates or yeah, that sort of thing. Like I was recently thinking about couples who own a business together, and like that can go one of two ways very quickly.
yeah.
But
Like it can work totally fine, or it can ruin shit.
But yeah, like, so I have this manager who's not my boss. He's actually not in charge of anyone but himself, basically. And like, he breaks all these little rules that like make my job a little more difficult. And
It's just us two, by the way.
Plant because nobody's in the fucking objective.
I'm on it.
What's push to talk?
You.
Cry about it.
That didn't work.
Planning now.
Bomb diffuser in place.
Okay. Well, there's one right there. You got it. Bet.
Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized.
Yeah, Siege has a tendency to like break the mic, I find. They're not hearing you. If you are pressing U to push to talk, it is not working. You would see it
on my screen. I see it pop up.
It's not popping up for me, and I did not mute you, so I don't think they hear you. I'll just find another match. But yeah, like I'm still nice to him. You know, I'm still pleasant with him because like that makes my job so much easier. If I'm just like on good terms with him, and as far as he doesn't know, we don't have a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't like the way. So for example, so my job title is security, but it's more like security receptionist secretary, right? Because I gotta like check IDs at the front, and then so that's the receptionist part, and the secretary part is like answering the phone and taking notes for managers. Because people will call me like, "Hey, is X person there?" It's like my manager, and I'm like, "They're busy. You want me to, yeah, like you want me to take a message, right?" And I gotta like vet calls basically. And so this guy just calls asking for one of the managers, this guy I mentioned who just kind of manages himself. And I'm like, no, he's not here. Like, do you want to leave a message? He's like, no. And he just kind of like hangs up, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I noticed based on the caller ID and the voice, like this is the second or third time this guy's called looking for the same manager in like a week. So I told him, I was like, hey, like this guy keeps calling. I even emailed him. I said like, here's his number. Like maybe you can call him back so he stops, you know, like calling us. And
yeah.
And this guy's attitude is like, yeah, you know, I wish people would just like get the message that like I'm not responding for a reason. Like I don't have time, or like I'm not interested. And in my head, and my cousin I work with is also like this. We're both like, just don't waste people's time, right? So it's just like, just take a second to reply to an email and say, hey, thanks for reaching out. Not interested. Because then they're not going to reach out anymore. And if they do, they're the asshole, right? And that's easy. Whatever, block the email address or block the number. But like, and even if it's just like a, hey, I've been really busy.
Played this map.
Even if it's like, I'm really busy, I'm going to have to get to you another time. Like that's how I would handle it.
Yeah.
You know, and I get like he doesn't have the time to answer every email or phone call. But he could even tell me, and that's what I try to tell a person is like, hey, I'm gonna like, I'll get him this message. Hopefully he reaches out to you soon. Like, cause that's the best I got. And like, it's just shitty because I feel like people think I'm being the asshole and like running them around in circles. And it's like, no, I want him to tell you he's not interested.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, cause I know you won't believe me. But that was a bit of a ramble about my job. Wait, Mary said something else in chat. Every time I hear about couples working together, especially in a situation like that, I'm like, good luck, but not a choice I would make. Yeah. Yeah, I personally,
It doesn't feel worth it.
yeah. Yeah.
Worth the risk.
Yeah. Exactly. Like that's how I see it. It's like a risk reward. Like, yeah, it could be super fulfilling, but you're taking all the stresses of a relationship and adding all the stresses of a business on top of it.
And you're like, yeah, this will be fine.
Yeah. This is great. Like it both simplifies your lives, but also makes it so much more complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I could tell some stories from this weekend. So Saturday. So basically something happened Saturday, yesterday, and then today. Different things, different levels. So Saturday, guy pulls up to the dispensary with a, pickup truck and a trailer that like doubles the length of it. Hi, Deluxe. Thanks for popping in. And he tries to park where there's like not a spot, like low key blocking a handicap spot and like a one way. And so my coworker, cousin, he goes out there, talks to him for a while. It takes like a long time. And then I see the guy like, pull away. I'm like, cool, whatever. Sorry, I was shooting a white man with a beard. Yeah, so that happens. And then so my cousin and I are just chilling in the security office, doing our thing, scanning IDs. And then I notice this guy walk in who's just like mad dogging the shit out of my cousin. Just like scowling, arms crossed. Like walks up to the desk, slaps his ID on the counter, and he's like, I want to speak to a manager. And I'm just like, I look at the ID, I look at him, I'm like, I'm not gonna let you in. And he was like surprised by that. He's like, why? I want to speak with a manager. And I was like, you're making me and my coworker very uncomfortable right now. And he's like, oh, he was so rude to me outside. He's like, I want to talk to a manager. And at this point, my cousin like goes, to be clear, there's no manager in the store at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, give me a second.
Oh, hey, on me.
Damn, that's crazy.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Deluxe, we're doing well. I'm telling my crazy weekend. I've gotten 3 kills this round. This is crazy. Oh, I think I found the other one. Damn, that's crazier. So yeah, so my cousin coworker, I'm just gonna say my cousin. So my cousin goes and grabs like a retail supervisor who's not our boss, just like a different person. Brings her out. This guy is like, talks to her for a while with my cousin there, and like the story is basically the story the guy is telling is that my cousin was like, just rude to him. It's just like originally, asking like, hey, like, I need you to move. Very reasonable thing. And then he was upset. Oh, hey, by the way, Alto, didn't notice you. Basically, he got upset because my cousin found him, the customer, to be rude first, right? And he said to him, he's like, how old are you? The guy's like, 40. He's like, do you have kids, man? Because like, I just hope that you'd be a little more respectful. And so the guy's like, yeah, your coworker here is being ageist. And it's just like, all right. So long story short, this has a happy ending, for just prefacing. So long story short, guy settles down enough that the retail supervisor is like, okay, like, the guy was pulling like I come here every week and stuff. And it's like, okay, like, but you're causing a problem right now.
Okay.
It's like, you can just go somewhere else. And the funny part is like, he moved and parked where my cousin asked him to, and then came in. Like, I thought he just left. I thought he got upset and left. But no, he actually went and parked where my cousin had asked in like this upper lot, and then took the time to come in. And the hilarious part is, had he just from the start driven around the building, there were 2 spots lined up for him that he would have fit perfectly into. That's the crazy part. And so So he like calms down enough. He goes in, buys his fucking 2 for $20 pre-rolls, and leaves, right? And so then the phone rings soon after, and I look at it and I'm like, like I think this is the guy. And my cousin points at it. He knows. He's like, yeah, that's the guy. And I pick up, and he must have like gone home and smoked, chilled out, and then like thought about things, because he's like, hey, I don't know if you were the kid that I was mad at earlier, but that's my bad. You know, I had a long day and like things really escalated. And so
Good for him, though.
yeah, dude, I was like, hey, like I really appreciate you taking the time to call and say that, and like I'll let him and the retail supervisor know, and you know we'd love to have you back in sometime. Where the fuck did you die? Oh. But my cousin is like, yeah, if he comes back in, like, yeah, I'll let him in and everything, but like we're not cool. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. You know, as long as, like, trouble doesn't start, it's whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
Pick me up. Please. Thank you. Alto, don't apologize. Thank you for popping in. Have a nice night. Everyone has to say goodnight to Alto. Yeah, and the funniest part is this is the second time this sort of thing has happened to my cousin, where a guy, like, really escalated things and then ended up calling back and apologizing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So that was Saturday.
That was the day of my brother's wedding, which is a whole other story.
Do you want to tell a story now?
No, it's all right.
Okay.
It was just, the bride got hurt.
Oh, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, she's all right. She fucked up her knee. It was after all the like super important stuff, like they got the dances and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She rode in instead of walking down the aisle. She rode in on her horse.
I'm on a horse. That is cute. Hi, Ren. Thanks for popping in, dude.
I'm just curious about the other stuff.
Yeah, so that's probably the craziest story was yesterday. So
you said there's three.
There's three stories.
You want to end with the craziest one?
I guess I'll talk about today. Today was probably the least crazy. So like that was the middle story, just to gauge things. So today, I basically had a couple come in, but I didn't realize they were a couple and that they were together. Because first this lady walks in the lobby and then checks out. We got all kinds of like handouts and stuff, and she immediately goes to that, picks up some stuff, walks up. She's a little weird, but like a lot of people who come to the dispensary are, and just like gives me her ID, whatever. She goes in. Cool. Then a guy comes in, and he's like, I mean, part of my job is to like get a sense of people and see if they're going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Immediately, it seems like he could possibly be on something. Like he's like tweaking, kind of like moving around a lot, like fidgeting a lot, right? And I've been good, Ren. I had a wild weekend. Sorry, I'm talking chat. I had a wild weekend, and I'm telling some work stories. Because Saturday, I told the Saturday story. The Sunday story is the craziest, and I'm telling the today story.
To mute to talk to chat.
Fuck you. I want to. Yeah. So.
I'm just saying, like.
No, I know. I appreciate it
as well.
I appreciate it.
I know what's happening.
I appreciate it. Bren was asking how things were. Bren's an instant problem. Yeah, man.
There is not a pool here.
So yeah, this guy comes in and he's kind of tweaking, but I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'll let him in. There's another security guard, so like, he'll on the floor, so like he'll keep an eye on him, whatever. All good. And so a few minutes goes by, and the guy comes back in the entrance. So like, there's a separate exit and entrance. He comes back in and he hands me a couple slips of paper that just says, they just say, "God bless you." He's like, "Hey man, like."
I threw a grenade.
Thanks.
Hey, at least I warned you.
I heard it anyway, but
Okay. So he hands you a note as
yeah,
a
a
security
couple-
guard, which is
No, but it wasn't like handwritten. It was like printed out. Like he had these things. Like he's he's just trying to spread the word. And I'm not religious, but I appreciate that. He was like, hey, I want you to have this, and here's one for like your coworker. And I said, oh, thank you. Like have a good one. And it just said, God bless you, and it was like a printout, a little slip.
Okay.
I'm dead. They're above us. It was a legion.
That was crazy to watch.
Dude, wait, why is my shield just vibing? Wait, come here. Like dude, you see my shield just spinning? It's
not
slowing
spinning
down
for me. No,
dude. It's okay. It stopped. I'm gonna have to clip that later. Yeah. And so then it turns out the lady is still in there. And again, I didn't realize that they were together because they came in separately.
Yeah.
And she like has bought things, like bought weed, but she's still inside. She's not like checking out all the apparel, and I guess she's just being kind of weird. And then they're like worried she's trying to steal something, I guess. And so my coworker's watching her, and then I'm watching the cameras, and I see the guy get in this red sedan, right? And he drives across the parking lot. After a while, he's like first like in the car, like driver door open, rummaging, whatever. And I think my assistant general manager had to go out and tell him he can't smoke on the property. So whatever, the guy like gets in his car, drives across the parking lot to the coffee shop, goes inside for like 5-10 minutes, comes out of the coffee shop, walks all the way across the parking lot where his car originally was, realizes he had moved the car, walks back to the coffee shop to his car that's parked right outside of it. Gets in the car.
Dude.
Close. Gets in the car. Drives over like 2 curbs. Parks close to where he was originally. Finally, the woman leaves. And then like gets in the car with him. They go around the building to leave. There's like a one-way and stuff. They go around the building a second time and stop. And so then finally I go out, and I was just low key, I was just gonna tell them to leave, but also I was like framing it nicely, being like, hey, like, do you guys need directions? You have to go up this lot and then take a right. And like I come out there, and like I don't know if he thought he was in trouble or something, but he like looked annoyed at me, looking to the left at me, almost drives into somebody that's entering the parking lot from the main road. And I'm like yelling, I'm like, oh, stop. And then he looked annoyed. Like I messed him up. It's like, bro, you were looking at me while driving forward.
Yeah, I didn't fuck that up.
And then they left. So it's like an interaction, but not like insane.
Yeah, no, that is still crazy though.
Yeah. And also while this was going on, I have a scanner for IDs. I scanned an ID, and my cousin had put in a message for this guy just saying basically like, hey, keep an eye on this guy. We're suspicious he's buying for minors, which is a big no-no, right? Yeah. And like what makes us suspicious of that is like somebody getting out of their car, going to another car and talking to them, especially after buying, and like giving that person a bag. It's like, why didn't that person come in and buy? Why did you buy for them?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mary, you watch I Think You Should Leave? That's hilarious. We'll get into that later. Okay, so the craziest story...
Sorry, hold on. Real quick, you should explain the circumstances through which you told me about that show, because the timing was very funny.
I don't remember what you're getting at.
You don't... Okay, so I'm over Bo's house. It's approximately 1 a.m.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. Bo made me dinner. If you go on my Twitter,
oh, it's the wings. Yeah,
Dad.
Yeah, Daddy's got you covered.
In a mug.
Big boy.
So it's like 1 o'clock, and
we're a little
roasty toasty.
Yeah,
we're a little warm. And Bo goes, "Hey, I think I either missed part of your sentence or you missed part of your sentence, because you just go, hey, I think you should leave." And I'm like, fuck, okay. And
I'm like, no, the show.
No, the show. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, the show, I think you should leave. So that's how I found out. And then
We watched the hot dog one.
We watched it, and he's like, yeah, it's this show. Watch it, I think you'll like it. And then I watch a man in a hot dog suit explain how it could have been anyone that drove the hot dog car through the wall of this store.
Well, I guess if no one's gonna take this car, I will then. That's not even the best one. It could have been, you know what the crazy thing is? It could have been any one of us here. Yeah, man, that's a good one.
We're all consumed by our phones. No one bothered to learn my name.
Pornhub, Xtube. I know these names better than my own grandma's. Yeah. So anyway,
Oh, fucking shit.
just hold F, hold F. You're gonna be okay. You'll make it through this. You're okay? You'll be okay. Maybe crawl behind the pillar after all. So yesterday, okay. So yesterday, this guy comes in pretty early in the day. I opened. And although yesterday, Sundays, we open at like noon. This sucks. So pretty early in the day, this guy comes in. I've seen him come in before. He's like a little weird, you know, reoccurring theme here. And he has an expired ID and he has a paper that basically says he can drive on it. He's like, hey, like I was told this is all I need to come in. I said, actually, like, because your ID's expired, I can't let you in. And this paper says you can drive, but like it doesn't say the ID's valid.
Yeah.
And he didn't fight me on it. He was just like, oh, okay. And he left. A couple hours go by. I'm on the floor instead of at the reception. And I see this person come, a different person, different guy, come back into the store with their bag. And I was like, and holding his license. And I was like, okay, this guy, I saw him just leave. He must have had a problem with his order and he came back in to fix it. No, he just looks around and then leaves again. And I'm like, what? And then, excuse me. And then a third guy on the floor says to me, oh yeah, he found an ID. I told him to give it to you guys. And I'm going, that's crazy because he didn't do that. So I go outside and I see him like throw something on the ground. And then I'm like, hey man, are you all set? And he's like, oh, yeah, actually, bends over, picks something up off the ground. I found this ID on the ground. So his logic was to put it back on the parking lot ground where he found it, instead of giving it to me to hold on to keep safe. And so whatever, I take it. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like next time, please give it to us and we'll hold on to it in case the person comes to get it. Cool. So I have to write it in a log, put it in a safe, right?
Yep.
Soon later, I get a phone call. And it was the guy from earlier today. And I recognize the ID as the guy I mentioned earlier in the story. The first guy, ID was expired, had the paper, didn't work, didn't fight me, just left. He was very chill about it. So chill dude calls. I recognize the caller ID. He's like, hey, I think I left my license there. And I said, what's your name? Just confirming. I was like, cool, I got it. Come back in. And technically he's driving without a license, but I guess not the point. So here's where it gets crazy. So a little while later, I'm looking on the cameras. I see this sick van pull up. I think the person's smoking. I have to go make sure that it's not pot, because like even though it's a dispensary, like you still can't smoke pot in public.
Yep.
But if it's like a cigarette, it's fine. So usually what I do is I'll like walk by people just to smell it. And kind of look. But I don't want to like make anyone uncomfortable, make it look suspicious, whatever. I just pretend I'm minding my own business. So I walk by the van, not smoking, but I don't want to have to walk all the way back around the building. And it's also a cool van. So I turn around and I walk up and I was like, hey, like, I just want to say, like, I really like your van. And this guy has a fucking tracheectomy, like, hole in his throat. So definitely not smoking. That would be crazy. I hope he wasn't. And he doesn't, like, he has a plastic thing covering the hole, but he doesn't say anything. He just kind of like mouths to me, and it was very awkward. And nice, sick dude, awesome, proud of you.
You could have told me that she was pushing towards you.
I didn't know you were there.
I literally said I'm right behind you.
I was telling a story. She knows she can't hit me, right?
That looks like a no.
Okay, so anyway, so here's where it gets crazy. So when I went outside, oh, someone put the yeah baby. Thanks for that.
Yeah, baby.
When I had originally gone outside to check on this van, I noticed 3 guys talking in this SUV, like halfway in a spot. And I was like, I recognized one of them as the guy, the first guy in the day, who dropped his ID, called, and was coming back for it. I was like, interesting. I wonder what they're talking about. They seem civil. I'll go check that out in a second. And then, like I said, I handled the van, guy with the tracheectomy, or whatever. And so I walked back, and at this point, guy number 1, we're just gonna call him Chill Dude. So Chill Dude is like sitting on our generator, and the 3 guys are talking. I was like, hey, like, is everything okay over here? And Chill Dude goes, I just got hit by a car. And I was like, okay.
And your first thought was to come here?
No. Like, yeah.
No.
So it was explained to me that the 2 guys with 2 women in the back seats were backing up their SUV and backed into Chill Dude. And I was like, okay, like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I mean, my back's bugging me. And they already seemed to conclude like they wanted to call the police just to get a report filed. Yeah. But he didn't want an ambulance, which is already sus.
I don't know if not wanting an ambulance is sus.
It can be. Not necessarily. Contextually later, it will make more sense.
Okay, because I'm just saying, you said already sus, and I'm like, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
what,
sorry.
Unless I'm
it will
like,
be
on
sus
the
later.
verge of dying, I would not want one just for the fucking
cost. I know.
Cost.
I get it.
We are the only one of 33 developed countries that hasn't figured out healthcare yet.
So going back to the story.
Yeah,
so man, there's a lot of back and forth in this, but basically, we agreed to call the police. Like, I go inside. At this point, my cousin was working yesterday as well. He comes out. He kind of assesses the situation because he was inside. When I went outside, he was like, he had walked out of the security office to do something. Wow, I spawned on an umbrella. That's crazy. And like, he went to the bathroom or something, and then I went outside to handle the van. And so he just went back to the security office, you know, started scanning IDs, and somebody came in, they're like, because when I was walking to check out the 3 guys, this other guy was walking in, and he's like, oh, I can wait out here if you need me. And I was like, no, like, go on in, no big deal. I'm gonna just see like what they're up to. And damn, that sucks, Rack. That's how I want to go though.
Same.
So he was just checking IDs, and somebody said to him like, yeah, there's something going on outside. And so my cousin thinks I'm getting fucking jumped or something. And so he comes outside, and you know, we explain to him whatever. And so I go in. I'm like, okay, why don't we have a non-emergency number for the police. I'll call that. I go in, I get the guy's ID. I talk to my cousin. He's like, why don't you just have them call? And I was like, damn, you're right. So I go return his ID. And I'm like, hey, why don't you guys call instead? And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, cool. Let me go get the number, because I didn't grab it because I'm stupid. By the time I get back out, one of the guys is already calling the authorities. Whatever. Cool. So I'm just like, all right, well, you guys just hang tight, obviously, and wait for them. And, you know, let them know that we have security cameras and that they, you know, can have access to that. But I'm just going to, like, go inside and do my job. But come on in and let me know if you need anything. Feel free. Cool. So I go inside and we look at the footage. And this is where it seems very sus. So Chill Dude. Okay. Chill Dude is walking across the parking lot. There's no sidewalk or nothing. And this SUV starts backing up. At some point, he's like 10 feet away. Maybe less than that. Looks at the SUV backing up. Takes another 4 steps. Walks into the side of the SUV. And like rolls off the mirror. Without enough force. I'm so stupid. I should have planted. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna. Oh, that was an echo. I'm so fucking stupid. I was so confused what was happening there. All right, it seems like we're memeing this round. So yeah, like I thought the SUV backed into him. He walked into this SUV, rolls off it, does like a classic sports like, oh no, I've been knocked over, and falls down. So like, and this isn't just my opinion. I thought this on my own. My cousin did. 2 other coworkers. And then so eventually the ambulance gets there. Cop gets there. Cop gets the statement. What the fuck is going on in this game right now? The guy ends up going in the ambulance after all. And that leaves. And I escort the cop in, which is a crazy sentence. I escorted a police officer inside,
Yeah, right.
showed him the video. Dude, funniest shit. The officer just goes, can you export that for me? And I was like, yeah, man, absolutely. And yeah. So he agreed right off the bat. He was like, yeah, no, that looks like he's trying to commit tax fraud. Or not tax fraud, sorry. Jesus, insurance fraud.
Insurance
like
fraud, yeah.
Like it just looks like he's walking
That
into
looks
the
like
van.
He's trying to commit tax fraud.
Yeah, damn.
he was filling out a W-9 at the same time.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I had to stay like an extra hour and a half to like just write my perspective of what happened. Like all the events. I literally had to watch. I forgot everything. I had to watch the camera to like remind myself. Like, oh yeah, okay. Then I went and did this. And yeah, but the guys were very, very chill. What was really funny? No, I can't talk about that. That's gonna be doxing. Yeah. So that was an interesting situation. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. And we handle it. I mean, like the 2 guys that were driving were very chill. But yeah, those were kind of my stories from this weekend.
Damn, should be crazy.
The other thing is like, so I'm bigger and taller than my cousin, but he is and Rack, you know this. He is built. He is, and not just built.
Different.
He's built different, but he also like has years of wrestling and fighting experience.
Which is inconvenient when you're going up against a security guard.
Dude, this Monty is doing his job awfully. Dude, you're kidding me. I had to reload.
Don't worry, you get to watch your death in this camp. Oh, what?
What?
You kill him like right after. What the fuck?
I don't even know. No. So my cousin. Well, I feel like you're confused. So my cousin, as a security guard.
No, I'm saying that would suck if you're trying to go up against a security
Oh
guard.
yeah, and it's him. Yeah, for sure. And so what's funny though? So he might be. I mean, he has some trauma, to be honest. He's probably like a bit too ready to fight. And I'm worried that I'm like not ready enough to fight. And what's funny is I even said this to him today. I was like, yeah, you definitely have more confidence in me than I do. And he's like, well, yeah, like you don't really know till stuff happens. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know how I'm going to react in that sort of situation till it actually happens. I'm worried. I'm just like not going to do well.
Yeah, well, I think it's Mike Tyson had a quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Get a t-shirt, by the way.
I'm trying to get these fucking drones, boy.
And but yeah, and so again, that's why I took the security job. It's just like a perspective thing, and just like a physical confidence, realizing like, damn, like I'm a big guy. I can fucking move people if I want to.
Yeah.
Like, and this was something I even like kind of realized like a month ago. I was just hanging with the fucking boys and we were in the pool, and I realized that like I could just flip any of the other guys. Just
I can drown you.
Okay,
You don't
okay.
get it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep. I got this.
Shut her tootsies. There's
got
more than just her down there. Granada!
What?
Oh,
Dude, I somersaulted down the stairs. That was beautiful, actually. There's somebody going around. Yeah, that was a hilarious ragdoll. But yeah, just I guess realizing like, oh, like this guy is as big as me, but like I can just yeet him. And so, and part of it is also just like growing up, not rocking the boat and stuff. I was talking about this earlier. Like, again, it's why I took the security job. Realizing like there's going to be times where like somebody's not going to be consenting to me touching them, like moving them. Sorry, that came out wrong. Yeah. Right? Like there's going to be a time where it's like I have to.
Sentence back.
Yeah, we're rolling that back. Where it's like, for example, somebody like throws a punch at me. It's like, damn, like we're really in a situation where like I have to fight back.
Yep.
Right? And like, and that's gonna be okay. We're gonna have to figure it out. But like in the moment, you just handle it, you know?
Yeah.
That's a huge scope for that MP5. That's like the length of the gun. But yeah, so it's not like
zoom. You need zoom.
you need. He goes zoom. He said fucking zoom.
Scope go burr.
Scope go burr, dude. Yeah. I think that's where I'm at, is realizing like I don't know, I'm not as skinny as I used to be. And it's been like a slow process, really realizing that.
Yeah. Well, part of what I want to do as far as like being able to defend myself, I want to do some jujitsu.
I don't know if that's the best choice, but continue. We'll get into that.
Even like big guys, you get humbled really fucking quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's vital. Like,
yeah,
being able to understand the fact that there's shit you don't understand, and the fact that just because you're bigger doesn't mean you. Because that's the thing, I've always been the big guy. So for me, really putting home the fact that like I might be the biggest guy in the room, but like that doesn't mean much.
Well,
by itself.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
And I had this thought, like, I would not survive in prison. I would definitely become someone's bitch and just get fucking shanked, and right? And part of it I think is like my worry is sorry, I'm swapping out. I want a suppressor. I think it's especially like a heteronormative guy thing where it's just like, oh, like big dude, I gotta take him. So again, because I'm like clearly above average size, or like especially you, I feel like there'd be guys who want to like prove themselves to all the other guys by trying to take you specifically.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's why I got bullied a lot growing up, Because
Yeah, we
if you
talked
can
about
take down the
this.
big
Now that I
guy,
think
you
about it.
can take down anybody.
Mhm.
So there's
Take down your
always
mom.
a target on your back.
So, yeah. Oh man, I lost my. I'm tired. Like I don't feel tired, but I know that like I need to sleep soon. That guy is so quiet. So quiet.
He just killed himself.
Did he?
Someone did.
No, he DC'd. No, that's not the guy who was talking.
No, I know. I'm just saying somebody did.
So, fuck, shit, fuck. Oh, you know what my cousin said was, assume you can take nobody. But then, like, when push comes to shove, then you have to ride on the assumption that you can win. So it's like don't start a fight.
Burn the ships.
Burn the ships. Maybe? I guess the point was... Oh! There's an Osa. Oh, man.
Do you know what burn the ships, like, is?
I thought burn the ships had a... I guess something burning bridges.
No, burn the ships, you're like... You land,
oh, you burn the ships behind you so you don't have an option to retreat.
Battle, and you burn the ship. Yep.
Sorry. I got there. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it is that. He didn't say the second part, but he definitely said the first part, like, assume you can take nobody. Right, because a smaller guy can absolutely take out a bigger guy. It happens. But then, like, once you're in that moment, you just gotta ride on, like, I can do this. So it is, like, it is a burn the ships. The reason I said jujitsu might not be the best choice is because maybe I'm mixing it up, but I thought jujitsu... There's some... What was the martial arts form that Joe Rogan originally did? Was it jujitsu?
I don't know.
Okay, because... I'm just gonna look this up while I'm dead. What martial art... Or... What martial art did Joe Rogan practice before MMA? Oh, Taekwondo. I must be thinking Taekwondo.
But why? Like, what about it?
Sorry, I'm just double checking. Yes, okay, this is exactly... I'm just reading. Sorry. I believe I'm thinking Taekwondo, because Taekwondo emphasizes punching and kicking, especially high head kicks. So the thing is, like, because it's a martial art they do for sport, there's, like, rules to it, right? It's not like it's not a fucking street fight. So like, you have expectations of what what your opponent can and cannot do. So, like, my cousin was telling me about Joe Rogan, having experience in these martial arts, and he goes to MMA, and he just, like, at the start would just get clocked, because, like, he's not expecting these punches and stuff, because he's used to these martial arts where, like, that's not allowed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that's why I like, I used to study, Uechi-Ryu, which is... yeah, no, that's just racist, Bo. It's just a different language. No, it's Uechi-Ryu. It's a Japanese form of karate, and its entire purpose is self-defense, and at least the philosophy behind it that my dojo used was, this is what you would need to use if, like, you punching them as hard as you can in the nose and trying to run away doesn't work. because the whole thing is like you want to get out of the fight as soon as possible. You just want to cause enough damage that they're distracted, and you can get away.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, and I guess like
There's somebody on my body, by the way.
well, you're not dead yet.
There's 2 people.
How? Oh, okay. The second person is what's got me. Damn, I really just somersaulted down the stairs again. Ren, what did you mean by AMM?
But then BJJ,
Also, thanks.
I want to work on because one.
That's
you
a Brazilian
increase your
Jiu-Jitsu for
endurance.
the listeners at home.
Yeah. You can increase your endurance a lot because a lot of it is grappling and like, fighting on the ground.
Yeah, which is what my cousin, you know, growing up wrestling, like, if he gets you on the ground, you're fucked.
You're done.
That's it. You're done. It's like
Always been that way too. We would fight on my trampoline back when I had one when I was little because we were neighbors. I was way bigger than him the whole time. All he had to do, grab one of my legs, and then I'm fucked.
yeah.
He was just
Oh, your internet's a little. Oh.
I have 47 ping.
Okay, you're good. You're good. Yeah, but the Discord audio was getting a little weird.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm getting back into cardio, and then I want to get back into weight training, and then I want to get like transition to maybe like calisthenics, but eventually get into not competing MMA, but just like learning martial arts, specifically like self-defense martial arts. And again, it's just like a physical confidence thing, just like I can do this if it comes down to it, but again, not looking for a fight.
Yeah, my brother and some of his friends from his work do jujitsu together.
Nice.
And
They do
that's
BJ
what's got me thinking.
together.
They BJ each other.
Yeah, they BJJ
work.
each other. They B double J. So it's like the same time. That's why it's double.
Yeah.
It's like a 69. So we're bad people.
Ooga.
You ever think about that?
Yeah. Well, I've always known I'm a bad person. But
Damn,
I've
just me, I
come to
guess.
accept it. I just kind of wake up in the morning and I'm like, damn, dude, I kind of suck. And then I'm like, yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, but not for free.
But not for free. Anyway,
Dude, this Capcan fucking missed with an impact. Oh,
let's proceed slowly.
Whoop. Hello. Dude, he missed with another impact. Hello.
I'm getting shooted at. Bro, that's lame.
I could use some backup, by the way.
Yeah, you don't have any.
It's
I was
just
trying
me.
to get to you. Yeah. I was trying to get to you, but I couldn't.
They'll never see me coming.
No, but they might hear you.
They'll never see me. They'll never know. He doesn't know.
Oh, it's over.
I mean, it was just a matter of time, but I really made him work for it, you know? GG, except Monty Lamau. Oh, man. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
I don't know. Do you know what West Hunt is?
I do not.
Oh, I don't either. I just saw that Ethan from Crank Gameplay is streaming that right now. So no, you had nothing to say to that. Really?
I don't know what you want me to say, but
I just something, anything. Give me engagement. Give me feedback, notes. Tell me it was good. Tell me it was bad. Tell me you loved it. Tell me you hated it. Tell me it was everything you expected. Tell me it was. Yeah. I did not roast Eve. No, I like. I don't really watch him, but I don't dislike him. I'm just.
yeah, fuck that guy.
Not my content. Consensually.
Not my streamer.
Not my strummer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching Mark for like 7 years at least. No, more than that. I think I discovered Mark in 2013? Pretty early on. Because he only had like celebrated 10 years recently. He's a cinnamon roll. What does that mean?
Who in chat is calling Eve cinnamon roll?
Mary. The Mary Hatter. Mary's like a friend of a friend. Fellow strummer. Hey, you know Rack streams?
Hey.
Just every time, man.
Awooga.
Your mission is to locate and defuse the bomb.
Okay, I got this. Big Monty.
Never played this one before.
Bomb has been located.
Whoop. Jokes aside, I have a soft spot for him because I saw him seem very affected by his ADHD in a video. He was having a rough time. Just made me feel for him. Yeah, I get that. Mark is also ADHD. Jacksepticeye is also ADHD. But like Ethan, I mean, Ethan's just soft boy. So like he just really has like the boyish character. And I think
He's
that
just a twink.
I don't know if you can say that.
It's too late, Bo.
Why? But why on my stream? Wouldn't he have to be gay to be a twink?
Bo streams? No, I don't think so.
I thought that was part of the definition, like a bear versus a twink.
Get fucked.
What? Was that our teammate?
Yep.
Oh man. No, I'll let that slide. I think he just didn't understand how the Maestro cam works. Did you kill him?
Yeah.
What? Rack, you do realize, because we're partied up, if you team kill, it might have us both have reverse friendly fire? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. Damn, that's crazy. That was... Yeah, that you should've... yeah, it was
What
video...
the fuck you mean you shoulda? Don't shoulda me.
No, I'm saying like that should have gone your way. Like I don't blame you. It was in a video with Mark Tyler. They're both really doing their best to keep him built up and happy. It was wholesome to see his friends supporting during a rough day. Yeah, I think I know the video you're talking about. It's one of like the fuck, were they doing Legos or something? I know the series. What was it? Was it like Markiplier, makes? Yeah. Oh man, same brain cell.
Mhm.
You know, egg drop. Oh. penis. What are you? What are you? Nice. What does wipe mean?
Press T. Someone said I shit myself, so I said white.
What we should do? We should do shields only next time. Wait, they're colon and appendix. I don't think that's how it works. Oh man, I should wrap up soon though.
Was hoping to get it out for a wine.
I just let it go. Just let it go. Stop. Just let it go. Just stop reading it. Don't read it out loud on my stream. And do not engage. That is a direct order. How it feels to have friends from military families. Like, stand down.
That is a direct order from your commander.
And then you're just like, command these nuts, Sergeant.
Command my balls, bitch.
Who are you, Jesse Pinkman? Yeah,
This is my own
bitch.
domicile and I will not be harassed.
Bitch.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yeah, science,
Nice.
bitch.
I need to rewatch Breaking Bad. Oh, God. Well, I need to finish Better Call Saul first.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the last season on Netflix.
On Netflix with all the movies and I got my popcorn and the
Got my
with the-
popcorn and my Netflix
and the wind up my ass and the
in my head.
oh, there's somebody to the right. I
To the
fucking.
right, to the right, to the left, to the left.
That's why I let it go. Let what go?
I
What?
don't know this map, so I'm just kind of wandering.
Dude, this is not even a new map. What do you mean?
I literally don't know this map. But it seems to be working out just fine.
What is? Okay, I'm gonna mute this person in chat.
Four neutralized. Mission successful.
Hey, cool. I got to the action by the time it was over. Let's go.
Blech.
I haven't had dinner yet.
Fuck, I'm hungry.
Me too.
But it's like too late for me to eat. I've been trying to intermittent fast and just eat between like noon and 8.
I can't do that to myself.
So that's what I thought, but it's actually been working. It's honestly, it's more so just like it's more so for me that I'm accepting that I'm not going to eat breakfast and just planning on that, and then I don't get stressed about like fuck, I didn't eat. And plus I'm like used to it. You know, like my body is used to not like having breakfast and having like a brunch. I don't know.
See, I don't ever have breakfast.
No, I know. And I definitely thought it was weird people didn't. But it's different to like not have breakfast and compared to like, I don't know, in my mind, like intermittent fasting is different. Because I'm also like not eating super late. It's not just like my meal times are offset late. And granted, like you were doing night shifts for a while, so like that's just fucky wucky. But
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, that's the thing. I just eat when there's food is my problem.
Yeah, well, I don't want to eat too late because I think it messes with my sleep. I think I sleep better if I don't eat too close to bedtime. Also, Mary said breakfast kind of makes me
I
feel
haven't
sick.
experimented with that.
I think a lot of people get like that for some reason. Yeah, that's what I've been experiencing kind of since high school. Like, especially eating something really sweet in the morning. It would not feel well. Hey. Bonk. Hey.
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 I heard the gunshots.
Okay, scary. Dude, they're gonna eat my mat. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Don't. Bro, come on, I have a mat there. I wish you hadn't blocked that because there's a welcome mat. Thanks.
I'm blind. EDD primed. Sound clear.
Oh, there's an OSA shield here. She's really just sending it. I've heard it can be related to anxiety. Obviously not going to be the case for everyone. I mean, Rack and I both have anxiety, so makes sense to me.
I have anxiety and I do drugs about it.
I don't know if that's how you want to say that, but it's not wrong.
Op 4, last stop standing.
Did you just go cap some guy outside? You really just roll up like, bop, bop.
You done, kid.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. You done, dude. That's how far I go. You think I'm in Pilates?
Oh! By my body, there's a fuse. Right by my body. Oh! That's a funny video.
Yeah, you fast, bro, but you ain't fast enough.
So how are you gonna get this job? You just need to... What was the
They
line?
sign up, so you just gotta be a major C word.
Yeah, right.
Live, so
Thanks.
at least your job fun. How I do that? They got sign
Hey,
up.
that's my money. What does he say? Where they're emptying his pockets.
Oh, fucking... Hey, those are my coins. You know how long it took me to acquire those? Some of those are limited edition. Ooh.
Stop.
Watch your fingers, booty hole man.
Oh my god.
What's your safe word?
What does he say? Mine is
Oh, my safe word is pineapple juice.
he said, what's my safe word?
Hey, SWAT man, what's my safe word? Ooh, we taking pictures?
Stop. Okay, we're done. We're done.
I just want you to know, you ain't get me. I got you. Don't tase me that.
That shit stings. What's good?
Hold up. Where? Oh. Hiya. Dude,
Location compromised. Plan
you ever not have something for like forever, and then you just get a random fucking craving? You're like, I want specifically this.
has located a bomb.
Are you pregnant it?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I didn't want to. Damn, I was down bad there. Ah! Oh my goodness. No, I'm just sitting here like, dude, I'm kind of hungry. What am I gonna do for food?
Don't talk about food.
But I was like, dude, you know what sounds good for no reason? The fucking cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
The cinnamon brown sugar?
Yeah. That would crush right now.
Reloading ammo.
Ooh.
Deploying mobile cover.
Sorry, I'm processing game one thing at a time. Those are like the only Pop-Tarts my mom would buy growing up. Cause it was like that Or how the fuck do I mute this? Are you out? Oh my god. Oh, there's a thermite where I died. He just entered the building.
No, it's not.
Thanks.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm just gonna mute this guy too. Like I'm all set. Oh, why can I not mute him? This sucks. Oh, okay, I see why. Man. Sheesh.
Sheesh, man.
Sheesh, man. I've been watching or listening to a lot of The Yard lately, driving to work.
I've been meaning to. I haven't had a lot of time to do it, to even think, honestly.
Yeah, I feel that. Oh, hi. My friend actually replied and said that she'd be down to go shopping with me.
Epic.
Well, this is a friend where, like, I think she legitimately hates me half the time, so it's always a 50-50 when I reach out. I don't know.
Name drop. Docs.
No.
Put on blast.
It's Rack.
It's me.
Yeah.
I will shop with you, baby.
You know, to be a pro gamer move is given, and some people
cancel on them.
No, a pro gamer move I just realized is and not that people haven't done this before, but besides like having just an alter like a okay, speaking on the internet, you could be like a Ludwig or like a Mark. You could be a Ludwig where you literally go by your first name.
Yeah.
You could be like a Markiplier, which is like the next step down, where like kind of goes by his first name, or like in Ethan, where like he's as Crank gameplays, but whatever, it keeps going down. You could also, and I'm sure people have done this, like have your identity. Sorry, how do I phrase this? You have somebody like Corpse, where it's like it's not his first name, but I guess it's still him, and he acts as himself. You have like a character. Okay, Doc Disrespect, right? So Dr. Disrespect, that's like a persona.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also have the persona be the opposite gender, is where I was going with this.
Interesting.
Because because when I was talking about that friend, I said she, and then I joked that it was you.
Yeah.
But like, what if...
You could do that. I think people might get upset if you're not upfront about that. If you're just like leading them to believe one thing.
No, I mean, because you can be like, hey, this is my online identity. Like, and that includes gender identity. I don't think there's a problem with that.
I don't think there's a problem with it. I said I think people would get upset.
Yeah.
That like if you amass a fan base from
Sure.
content creation.
Sure.
And then you host a meetup and you're just some guy.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy. You're not that girl.
You're not that gal. I've seen that gal. You're not her. And it's just like you fucking photoshopped yourself to be the opposite gender. You're not that gal. Like, actually, that's me. Here's the original photo. That's crazy you said that, though. I love how you can be mid-reload and just start shooting again. Like, the mag has been released from the gun.
Nah, it's all set. Don't worry about it. It's
ain't no thing. You know I keep that thing on me.
Ain't no thing but a G thing, baby.
5 seconds.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, but there's people like Finster. Like his actual gender identity, from my understanding, is like he's a cis guy and he's straight, but like he does cross-dressing for stream, and he has like he's still him. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I need to watch more because it's not like drag necessarily.
Yeah,
it's a weird, I think, blurring. I got domed by Glaz because I was so afraid to shoot the teammate in front of me. How did he hit me there? That's wild.
What are those snowflakes on the ground?
So that's, I forget her
What are
name.
those liberals over
But if you
there?
stand by it, it's a little turret that heals you.
Huh.
It's like a mini dock.
Epic.
Very buggers.
Epic moment. Yes to epic life.
Oh man. It's just funny. I don't know why.
It is.
Just pull a Austin show.
Yeah.
Dude, did you see the clip of Dr. K from Healthy Gamer GG? And he's like, yeah, anything from my brown brothers. And the person's like, you know he's white, right? He's like, what? I don't know if this was staged or what.
Crazy. I haven't seen that.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Yeah, exactly. You can't cancel me if I cancel you first. Damn, that sucks. They died. It's like, you can't fire me. I quit. I don't know if you can actually do this, but the power move is to put in your 2 weeks just after you get a bunch of vacation confirmed. And like sick time. And so you're just like, yeah, I'm going to leave in 2 weeks. But for those 2 weeks, I'm not coming in. Which is a dick move.
15 seconds left.
Or depending on the situation, might be better for everyone. Be like, hey, like, I don't want to be here. You don't want to see me, but you're going to pay me.
Yeah, no, I would use up all your PTO, and when you come back, you give the 2 week, because then you can actually get it and not worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I'd have to look into it. I feel like you could confirm PTO and then put in the 2 weeks. And then, or just save up sick time.
Yeah.
Just be like, damn, that's crazy.
Just be
I'm
like, "Dang,
sick."
my tummy hurt.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that Jordan Peterson and Crash Bandicoot meme, but I laughed so fucking hard. I don't know. I don't know that
It
meme.
is your bad. What? Sorry, what were you saying?
Mary was talking about
Playing as
some.
fucking Rick.
Yeah, there's a Rick and a Morty skin. I don't like it because it like breaks my immersion. It's a little weird.
Nothing else in this game has broken your immersion.
No, it's pretty realistic, I'd say in general. Like Siege tries to err on the side of realism. Then you just have fucking Rick Sanchez looking ass.
10 seconds left.
Hey, Mad. Good to see you, dude. I hope you're big chillin' tonight. Just sent a link. Oh, I do in fact have a DM. What if you want to check it out? It's so stupid. Okay.
Well, I just died, so that's cool.
Where'd you die? Where?
My body.
Where?
Downstairs.
Okay. Oh! That was genuine fear. Bro in my chat says, I had a frog riding with me 2 nights in a row.
I'm
What?
sorry, what happened?
Matt, explain. Want picture? Yeah.
Also, what did you say that you DM'd me?
They've ceased attempting.
I didn't DM you anything. Oh my god, it's just a tiny frog. That's adorable. In his car on the dashboard. That's so cute, man.
Op Last stop standing.
Oh, let me download the image. Oh,
Op 4
Sorry.
eliminated. Mission successful.
let me save
Oh,
it.
Big A just went live with a Marketing Monday plus Shark Tank.
But oh, I guess West
Goodbye.
Coast.
You imagine just wreck Valhalla left match.
Oh, can't show that picture on stream.
Oh no.
Hold on. Oh, wait, let me. Oh. I wanted to show stream. Scenes. Bop. That's the little frog. That is all.
Find the bio.
Other pick. Oh, the other one's on the mirror. Okay, well, I can't. I'm gonna have to download that one too and show it. But after this round, once I die. Oh, I'm stuck on the stairs. Help. I'm going down. Oh, I think we found him.
Damn.
I think they're downstairs.
10 seconds. Nicely done. The biohazard container has been located.
Yeah.
Insertion in 5 seconds.
Yeah, basement. Do 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 do.
Bless the rains down in Africa. Oh, lame.
Cool.
Down to one friend.
Well, that sucks. Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay.
All friendlies have been
Damn.
eliminated.
Sheesh. I think this is my last match. I gotta go to bed.
Fair enough.
I'm
I
just
gotta
tired.
eat something.
I don't know if I'm gonna eat or not. I might eat, stay up a little bit, then go to bed. But I think like streams just kind of died. I feel like I'm not entertaining. Although the viewers have gone up. Shut the fuck up. You're bad.
Locate the biohazard container.
Why'd you not, bitch?
I'm just trying to be chaotic.
Nah, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Bitch. Oh man. That's funny. I'm funny.
10 seconds. 5 seconds before insertion.
Nani? Wanna be instigator? Yeah.
Location unknown.
You
I believe I would feel that
are
way,
a
but your streams
fucking
are.
hoot,
Aw.
my guy.
Proceed to its location.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I feel like my streams just end up being relaxing in general, which I'm cool with, I think, but. Damn, I really wanted to jump. Did she drop? She dropped. Damn, they already dead. Don't worry. I got this. Ow. Alright, let me download the other picture to show stream. bonk, bonk. Bonk, bonk. Okay, here you go. Here you go, stream. There's little froggy. That's all you get.
I need more stickers.
Last operator standing.
Man, I really wanted that one.
Just go to Zoomies and get it.
Yeah, no, I will tomorrow. I forgot where you got them, to be honest, so thanks.
I told you earlier today.
Sometimes I feel weird blowing up people's chat too much when I don't have much to say. In those cases, but in those cases, I'm still chilling, enjoying the content. No, I know. I know you guys are just, lurking, and I appreciate it. I guess, like, the chat engagement in general is very reassuring. But yeah. I know you're just lurking.
Match.
Hate being the only one typing, but at the same time, glad I'm the only one who gets focused on. Yeah, no, dude, exactly. I feel the exact same way, guys. I guess it's more like the energy of the stream. I don't know, I end up doing these like sleepy streams. It's just Siege is not like a sleepy game. Bumper 50. What did you send me? Oh. Dude, I fucking hate Discord image previews because it shows me that at like 1 pixel equals 1 pixel on my monitor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, when you open it, it is too.
No, like I get it's like only 128 by 128, but like Discord, why can't you just scale it to fill the window? You know what I mean?
The biohazard
Yeah.
has been located.
Do you though?
Yep.
You sure?
Yes.
Just checking. Like I just want to make sure. Like,
10 seconds.
because you could be honest with me if you didn't. Like you're safe here.
Yes, I do.
I'm not gonna make fun of you to chat while muted or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Alright, I'm gonna go a wild way in.
I'm following you, Papa.
Sheesh.
I'm
Right.
coming in behind you. I'm coming in your behind.
Nope.
I'm Rack.
Yep. Yeah, I heard that. I figured you did too.
I heard it, but the noise meant nothing to me because I had no idea what it was.
Stop securing the container.
Man, I thought I could get that. I'm growing too confident.
Resume securing the container once the threat is neutralized. Op 4 eliminated all friendly.
What a last game. He literally just walked in asking to die.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Mary, come on. Choked defeat. That makes me feel worse that they added the adjective.
Choked L plus ratio. You felled off.
I did felled off. Alright, Rack, thanks for chilling, ma'am. I always appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No.
I will see you.
Have a nice day, man. Okay. Chat. I'm just gonna go. No raid tonight. But thank you everyone who popped in, lurking, chatting. I always appreciate it. I'm glad I got chill vibes going. Don't know when I'll stream next. This is because I stream Friday and I stream today, which is kind of close together. So I've already hit my one stream for this week, but I don't know. I might stream. Oh, I can't really stream later this week. because I can't. I mean, I could do tomorrow night. I definitely can't do Wednesday night. I would have to do late Thursday night. Definitely can't do Friday night. This might be the one for the week. We'll see. Tomorrow night, we'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. Next week at the latest. Boiler. Boiler, I'm glad you got your lab report. Or I'm glad you've been working on your lab report. Alright. Guys, stay safe. I feel like I need a saying. Like the other ones out always says, don't forget to wear your seatbelt. But, say I love you. Good night.